Wake up and smile, because it's been a while. It's been like a whole day since I came here and welcomed you to the best breakfast show on the block. Good morning and welcome to the AM show. My name is Sweetie Abochi and I do this with Benjamin Akakbo. And it looks like the month ran to an end. Today is already 26th of July 2024 and we are getting closer to elections 2024. The various presidential aspirants are waxing lyrical, but there are some issues going on in the country. Teachers are on strike and all that. But you know, this is where you come for up-to-date information and a plethora of conversations to keep you informed. Now, let me tell you what we have lined up for you this Friday morning. Of course, we start with the AM news, bringing you the up-to-date information going on in the country. And then we get into the news review segment. Afel Moni, former GJA president, and Bernard Mona of Arise Ghana, and also presidential aspirant, will be joining us to get into the various newspapers and the stories captured therein. Muftan Abil Abdullah will bring you prime take for AM Sports. And then, of course, it's Friday, so Benjamin Akakbo will be sharing his blunt thoughts with you. And then we get into our big stories. We start from Komenda, as residents of Komenda in the central region are frustrated by government's unfulfilled promise to get the Komenda sugar factory working as the facility rots away following years of neglect. What really went wrong there? And why this state of affairs for what could have changed the economic fortunes of the region? Also, as stakeholders discuss the state and sustainability of pensions in Ghana, here at Joy News yesterday, there was that national dialogue on pensions. What should be the key takeaways? We'll bring you the highlights from that. So, of course, join us with your comments and your thoughts either via phone or across our social media handles at Joy News on TV. Let's start with the AM news, but of course, we have so many conversations coming your way that you don't want to miss. We'll be right back. This is the AM news. Details now. Labour unions are calling for a major overhaul of SNIT, pushing for capped expenses and a reduction in government influence on its board as they consider taking control of the organization. In a recent discussion on the latest Joy News National Dialogue, Labour experts emphasize the need for urgent reforms in the pensions industry. They urge the government to address the long-standing issues with Tier 2 pension payments and to review the current law to ensure that pension contributions are tied to gross annulment rather than just basic salary. Michael Ashali has more in the following report.
SNIT's decision to sell over half of its shares in 4 hotels sparked controversy, leading to massive worker protest against the deal tied to the Minister of Agric. After months of dispute, SNIT cancelled the sale under pressure. Many now see SNIT as a sinking ship in urgent need of reform to secure pension funds. Speaking on the Joy News Thought Leadership Program, the General Secretary of the Public Services Workers Union of TUC, Bernard Ejay, stated that the current benefits are inadequate and unsatisfactory.
I mean, we are very much concerned because the truth is that majority of pensioners from the public sector, especially those with Public Services Workers Union, are receiving very low pensions.
The consensus around the table was same. SNIT has failed with its mandate. Dr. Kwabena Nyako Otu is the Director of Research at TUC.
They have not lived up to our expectations if you focus on SNIT.
For some of them, the main problem is the governance and politicization of SNIT.
Because consistently we have seen that there are governance problems with SNIT. There are operational problems with SNIT.
SNIT and its management of our pension resources have not been the best. And I don't need to elaborate. All the things we have known about SNIT over the last few years illustrate clearly that pension fund management is a serious problem in this country.
Independent researcher Abdullah Mashoud, who is the Executive Director of Africa Center for Pension Research, believes the problem is far worse.
Social Security in Ghana has gone through a number of phases. In fact, from independence in 1957, we have had 7 major legislative reforms as far as Social Security is concerned, including 3 amendments. Now, what has happened over the period is that we have the most recent one, which has to do with the implementation of the Act 760, that is the 3-tier pension system. a few years after the implementation, that is about 13 years after the implementation of the Act 766, I can confidently tell you that the objectives of the Act 766 or the reforms in 2008 has not been fully realized. And what were the objectives? The first objective was to enhance retirement income security to the Ghanaian pensioner when they retire, and also to set up uniform rules and regulation for the administration and payment of benefits in Ghana. Those were the two objectives. About 81% of employers who are employing between 1 to 30 employees are not paying social security contributions under Tier 2. And that is as a result of, issues with enforcement of compliance. Again, if you take a look at Ghana Statistical Service data, what we are finding is that even within the formal sector, we are finding that about 26% of those who work in the formal sector, mostly in private establishment, are not covered by the basic national social security system, let alone Tier 2. So coverage is a very big issue, and I'm saying we have significant disparities along the lines of tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2 disparities, gender, and sector of work. We are talking about private, public, and we are talking about informal and formal.
Labor expert Austin Game says there are more lapses.
For now, the accountability aspect and responsibility on the part of the governing the structure is not adequately in place. And I think that once that can be taken care of, that should go a long way to solve the problem.
But SNIT would have none of that. Chief Actuary at SNIT, Joseph Poku, says payments are done by the book.
Lowest earner will be based on the minimum wage, the national minimum wage. You cannot pay contributions below the national minimum wage. That is the monthly equivalent of the daily national minimum wage, which now is around almost 400 Ghana cedis also. Probably if we were to be going strictly according to the law, according to the formula in the law, the person wouldn't even get a 300 cedis. But because of the administrative instruction that we can't pay anything below 300. That is why it's even getting the thing. At the same time, somebody is getting 187,000 Ghana cedis every single month. And in January, coming January, this person getting 187 is most likely you get over 200,000 a month.
He also says they are working to rope in more contributors.
We have embarked on this program, and somebody mentioned it, the self-employment enrollment drive initiative started last year. As at the time, we had about around 14,000 people who had signed up. And as we speak, about 2 weeks ago, when I checked the data, we had over 100,000 now. So multiple folds. So that's the way we feel that it should go, because that is the fuel for the scheme.
The panelists believe that there must be major reforms in the pensions industry to bring it back on track.
It's important that we strategically, as organized labor, also look at going into the future, representation on any kind of board when it comes to these investments, prepare our people well, follow up on them, engage them, get them expert advice so that they can do their work well. One important thing is also about the unification of pensions. It is not the best. You know, when the pension reforms came into being, it was only the army that was exempted. As we speak, all the security forces have gone into captivity. So where is the unification of pensions here?
Right.
Meanwhile, we know they are not contributing a penny to their pensions. But at the end of the day, the benefits they have in terms of lump sum is way more than those of us who are contributing to our pensions.
And it becomes even worse when the single spine salary structure has also not lived up to expectations.
Exactly.
So you lose from both ends.
Exactly. So we must ensure that if it's going to be the pension reforms that have come into place since 2010, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, every worker should be put in here. And we shouldn't be having capacity and the rest, because then we all know capacity is way better, way more than what the Tier 2, for example, provides. And from what we've heard, we look at the restructuring of SNIT in terms of its governance, management, administrative processes, and all of that.
Must the law, the act itself be touched?
The law, yes.
Must the act be touched?
Yes. Of course.
Okay.
Of course, and I think organized labor can lead in this direction. We cannot wait for any entity to start this, and that is why, personally, I'm happy technical committee has started working. I'm sure this is going to be one of the recommendations they are going to make, and we are going to take it up seriously and work towards it.
We have to look at the pension redistribution policy. I have always had the view that the way Senate is indexing pensions, I think it's about time we look at it. We need to reform it a little bit to reflect fully the principle of solidarity. You have a pension payroll where 7% of those rich pensioners in the upper bound control about 32%. Whereas we have...
what percentage did you mention? So the top tier?
7%.
7% control over 30%.
Over 30% in the upper bound. Whereas we have 68% in the lower bound, controlling just 37%. It is just telling us that there is something wrong with the way we redistribute pensions.
Now, if you look, there's a cap on the second tier and third tier management in terms of expenses or expenditure in managing the funds. Whereas if you look at SNIT expenditure, and in your introduction, you did mention some figures, there seem not to be a cap. And SNIT expenditure, we believe most of the funds, instead of going either into investment or accruing to the benefit of the members, is going into the management of the fund.
Although the labor unions, as the largest contributors to SNIT, are calling for the reduced government influence on the board, Dr. Kwabena Nyako is advising them to proceed with caution.
You have the head of the board being a journalist. Now, if you go to Denmark and if you go to South Africa, there's a criteria for being a member of their pension funds. We don't have it. Even in our own law, the MPRA, there's a criteria for being appointed a member of MPRA board, but there's no criteria for being a member of the SNIT board. This must change going forward. It is important that those we appoint to the governing structure of SNIT and all other pension funds have at least some knowledge and experience in investment and in finance. And that brings me to the question, even if you make sure that all our SNIT board members are actually from labor,
okay,
do you really have the experience and the expertise to do? So it is important that we do not just talk about packing the SNIT board with people from labor and all that. We should pack it with people with experience in investments.
But Austin Gami sides with the labor unions.
The governance structure is key. The president will have no business being the one, whether law or no law. We must go to a national tripartite committee meeting and have this important discussion concerning the socio-economic importance of it for us. So we let them know that we can no longer continue with this kind of arrangement.
Okay.
Where the president will be employing a number of people and they go and make a decision and then come out with their policy designs and so forth and publish it in papers. We don't think that will be holding well for anybody.
Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Pension Trustees, Thomas Esso, argues that pension contributions should be based on gross emoluments instead of just the basic salary.
Needs and the private pension, all of us, to start fighting for what we call the needs or pensions should be tied to your gross emoluments. Then in that case, your basic and your allowances and any benefit that you are earning, the employer is computing your basic, your pension on that. And that is a point that I think that SNIT and the private trustees, we can position ourselves and try to push an amendment for the law to get to that stage.
Abdullah Mashoud says some attention must also be given to Tier 2 and Tier 3 contributions.
Countries that have adopted the multi-tier pension system who have been successful, what they sought to do is to get an excellent connectivity between the various tiers. And that is what we have not been able to do. We have had, a very serious disconnect between Tier 1 and Tier 2, operationally and systemically. What I would say is that we need to look, stakeholders will need to look at improving the regulation and administration of the Tier 2 schemes. That is very, very important. You know, we are looking at a 3-tier pension system. And if we go and we are just looking at Tier 1, without really focusing on what is happening at Tier 2, or we focus on Tier 2 and not looking at what is happening at the Tier 1, at the end of the day, we are not going to meet the overall objectives. It is important we look at it as a whole.
Away from that, the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, has asserted that even though the 2020 general elections were largely peaceful, the Peace Council have concerns when the nation experiences pockets of unrest, reckless utterances, among others. He said the violence that characterized the elections in some constituencies would continue to dent the image of the country. Reverend Dr. Edujemfi said this at the 2024 dialogue series held in Tamale.
Is the second after a similar one was held ahead of the 2020 elections. The series, organized by the Peace Council, seeks to foster unity and to contribute in ensuring peaceful and credible elections. Dr. Edujemfi said, to move beyond our collective pain to a place of healing, the National Peace Council engaged people who were affected in the elections.
The National Peace Council engaged stakeholders in the 5 constituencies where the unfortunate loss of lives occurred, namely Ewutu Senya, Odododiodio, Ablekuma Central, Techiman South, and Savulugu. The lessons learned and the recommendations from these engagements were documented to serve as building blocks for a 3-day national dialogue that took place from 29th June to the 1st of July 2021 in Adan. The national dialogue developed a roadmap that sought to counter election-related violence and strengthen processes to building a greater cohesion, political tolerance, and nation building. One of the recommendations from the National Dialogue was to institute a platform for inter-party dialogue for regular consensus building. The Peace Council is happy to report that since January 2023, that goal has been achieved.
The Peace Council chairperson said democracies around the world are under attack, adding that not even the champions of democracy have been spared.
Looking at events around the world, it appears democracies across the globe are under attack, to the extent that the champions of democracy, the United States of America, has not even been spared. Election, which is in many democracies is accepted as the mechanism for choosing leaders for states, have now become a ground for violence.
Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel, Ms. Berry Freeman, said social media had the potential of triggering violence if people use it wrongly.
This year's elections, the 9th since 1992, will again test the resilience of Ghana's democratic process. Misinformation and disinformation that spreads all too quickly on social media, youth's disenchantment with politics, socioeconomic hardship, and a rise in inflammatory statements and hate speech. These are all factors that could unleash negative passions and trigger violence during the electoral period.
The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, said instability in neighboring countries should remind Ghanaians to opt for peace.
Instability in neighboring countries reminds us of the importance of conflict prevention. Ghana's discovery of oil, the challenge of illegal mining, and the potential for resource-related conflicts further emphasizes the need for proactive measures to maintain peace.
In other stories, Minister of State at the Office of the President, Ambrose Derry, has debunked allegations that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign team was harboring persons whose credibility were suspicious. Chief Executive Officer of a defunct microfinance company in a viral video is seen presenting a white smock to the flag bearer of the NPP during his recent campaign tour to Nandom, which got the tongues of critics of the NPP wagging. Now, Ambrose Derry, in an exclusive interview with Joy News, asserted the defunct CEO of DKM did no wrong, as he is a member of the Nandom royal family and a member of the New Patriotic Party.
Whistle-stop campaign tour of Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. 4 days, 11 constituencies, and 1 moment or probably controversy who their opponents are bent on cashing in. This picture of the defunct Chief Executive Officer of DKM, Dikomuni Martin Dele, which was posted on social media, presenting a white smoke to Dr. Bawumia on behalf of the London royal family, got thanks wagging. The Dr. Bawumia campaign team is accused of harboring persons who have checkered history and, for that matter, having suspicious credibility. Former Interior Minister, a member of Parliament for Nandom, Ambrose Dere, however, thinks otherwise and explained further in this interview.
As far as I know, GKM is not a criminal. He has not been convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction for anything. And I think I should as well take this opportunity to put things in context. The issue that came up and people are beginning to talk of DKM was about seeing DKM on TV holding a white smoke with the flag bearer of the MPP. And that is because DKM is a member of the royal family of the London traditional area. And the London now Professor Dele had asked that smoke be given to the vice president. He was sitting on his throne, and therefore DKM held the smoke and they stretched it to the vice president. If you recall, was grilled by Parliament my second vet for my second term as Minister for Interior on DKM, and I made things clear to them. Martin Dele had a duly registered financial institution with the Bank of Ghana, and therefore Bank of Ghana had a duty to be monitoring it. When it happened and all the investigations came out, because he had registered, there was a liquidator who was appointed. Liquidator took over the company, liquidated it, made the money he could get from the assets, and therefore paid all people who the company owed. And that's what it is. So he's a Ghanaian, and may I ask that even people in prison have votes.
Now, Evodia Foundation, an NGO, has supported the Menchia Government Hospital with medical equipment and consumables to improve services at the pediatric units. These include thermometer, nebulizers, pulse oximeters, bed sheets, and diapers. This presentation is particularly geared towards meeting the needs of women and children seeking care at the hospital. Here's a report by Clinton Yeboah.
Executive Director of Evodia Foundation, Lordina Sewa Boache, says their core mandate is to support the vulnerable in society, especially women and children. She highlighted the item donated to the Menchia Government Hospital and urged the facility to make good use of them.
Okay, presented a couple of chairs, bed sheets, nebulizers, pulse oximeters, thermometers, and diapers, wipes, a whole lot of things. And then our main focus is to help the needy, especially women and children, because they are very, very vulnerable in society. And we started with the hospital and then the pediatric ward because these are our young children who are going to become our future leaders. And then we think that if we help them first, it would help to bring life into the society.
Head of the pediatric unit at the Menchia Government Hospital, Aisha Abubakar, expressed gratitude to the foundation and called on other philanthropists to aid with other equipment such as pediatric monitor.
These are things we need, especially the medical equipment, the nebulizers and those children who cannot breathe. That is what we use in giving them the medication into their lungs. So we are very much grateful to them. This will help us in taking care of our children. So we are very grateful to this. We want to get a pediatric monitor. That is children who are critically ill. That thing will help in at least saving them. So it's one of the things we even told them by Young Foundation. So if anybody coming to our aid, we need pediatric monitor. That will help us.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
And students of Abaswa in the Abaswa Junior High School in the Sechere Central District, who used to trek several kilometers to school in nearby communities, can now access education in their backyard. This follows the construction and donation of a junior high school block, toilet facility and a mechanized borehole to the local Abasua Junior High School by popular American preacher and philanthropist Apostle Wayne Jackson and wife, Dr. Beverly Jackson. Education authorities are happy that the children can now enjoy school. There's more in this report.
Executive Director of Evodia Foundation, Lordina Sewa Boache.
For several years now, the Abasua community has been without a junior high school. This means students after completing primary school will have to travel to nearby communities such as Achia and Anwenya to continue JHS. Many of these students end up carrying luggage of Christian pilgrims who visit the holy Abasua mountains for a fee. Headmaster of the local Abasua DA Primary School, Richard Boache, is unhappy many of his former students failed to further the education.
When I came here, there wasn't any JHS in this school, but we realized that after the primary 6, they used to further the education at one of the nearby towns, Achia. Yeah, so we realized that when they are to move to the Achia JHS, they don't go to the school. They normally, we see them loitering about and then carrying some load to the mountains for money.
The story is, however, changing thanks to the benevolence of a popular American preacher, Apostle Wayne Jackson, and his wife, Dr. Beverly Jackson. They have donated a newly constructed JHS block, toilet facility, and mechanized borehole to the community. The couple, who are senior pastors at the US-based Great Faith Ministries International, also constructed a palace for the chief as a befitting gesture. Apostle Wayne Jackson tells a handing over ceremony he was touched by the plight of the community after a religious pilgrimage to the community.
We climbed that big mountain to pray. And while I was up there, God told me to come help my people. Ghana is rich with minerals, rich in gold, rich in real estate. But I came not to invest in real estate or minerals. I came to invest in people.
Apostle Wayne Jackson, founder and president of the Impact Network, the only all-African founded and operated national Christian television network, also donated food items to residents of Abasua. District Education Director Kwame Ado says the gesture will go a long way to improve teaching and learning in the community.
The community has been crying for a JHS. When they complete the primary 6, they have to trek to Achia and Anwenya for their junior high school education. And because of that, the community has been crying for a junior high school. And thanks be to God, we had a donor to give us a very nice structure with furniture to all the rooms that we have over there. And with this, it will go a long way to improve teaching and learning in the school.
Meanwhile, Apostle Wayne Jackson and wife are promising to establish an ICT lab for the school. Ohimi Interior's report, read to you.
Congratulations to the entire Abasua community. And on that note, business updates is coming up next with Benjamin Akakwo.
Welcome to Business on the AM show. Now, economist Professor Lord Mensah has disclosed that the $1.2 billion Ghana accrued as savings from crude oil exports and commercial quantities will boost the country's forex reserves in order that the economy can withstand future shocks. He believes the amount saved could also serve as a buffer for the stabilization fund in the event of inflow shortfalls to pay for oil imports. Professor Mensah spoke to Joy Business.
It's a good contribution to our petroleum, funds, both the stabilization and then the heritage fund. But then this was supposed to reflect in the mid-year budget review. You could see I have been, asking questions on what are the prospect as far as, our forex reserves is concerned. And clearly, the finance minister did not show any signal of, providing more information as to our possible dollar inflows as far as, the dollar buffers is concerned for this country. And so from where I sit, having this information, I can tell you provides enough information for the market to give some assurance on the dollar buffer of this country. Even though, when you look at the 1.3 billion, I would say 1.3 billion because the figure is around 1.297, right? Thereabout. And so I will round it up to 1.3 billion. And I would say that it's not something that we can, by law, we can use them, as and when, the use of injections in our dollar buffer is concerned. But it gives some assurance and it gives some hope.
Well, from there, what's happening on the forex market? Well, we give you our currency market for this morning. And that's the note on which we cap off the business updates for the morning. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
And that's it. Remember that Afel Moni, former GJA president, and Bernard Mona of Arise Ghana will be joining us for the news review segment, which is up next. Stay with us.
Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to get into the news review, and you know how we do it. Before we get into it, we're supported on this segment by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and here's what they're offering you. If you're a man, they say come through and let them offer you prostate screening absolutely gratis for free. If you're a woman, come for fertility screening for free. You never know what you'll discover, and from there you could protect yourself from maybe, for all you know, a terminal illness. And that's why I'm proffering that you reach out to them at any of their branches, starting from here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma, Boehian behind the Angel Educational Complex, the Takrade Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hansua, and the Siama Nzema. You can reach them on the following numbers: 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Well, joining me for the news review, we have former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afel Moni, Roland Afel Moni, and we also have from Arise Ghana, Bernard Mona, the one who is always in a berry. He nearly forgot to use his berry this morning, but he's a 3-star general, I see, with his Ghana flag within the African map. Ghana flag within the African map. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
This time you tricked me once. Shame on me.
I never will trick you.
It will not happen.
And I'm not sure anyone has ever succeeded in tricking you. I just drew your attention to something. I can't trick you.
I think one person in leadership succeeded in tricking me, but it won't. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you for joining. We'll go straight to it. Your thoughts for us this morning, a minute and a half before we get into the papers. I'll start with you, Afil Moni.
I've been doing a reflective thinking on an article published by the Daily Graphic. And the article took a brutal swipe at the intellectual community for letting our dear nation down. And the argument is that these intellectuals who misgovern, these intellectuals who massage figures, these intellectuals who inflate contract sums, these intellectuals who certify surely project, and intellectuals who are responsible for the mess we find ourselves in. So I think the article is as relevant today as the day it was published. So it should serve as a wake-up call to the intellectual community to shape up in response to the mounting challenges of this country, especially intellectuals in the media. This is a time for you to exhibit your analytical thinking, exhibit your sense of objectivity. We are told objectivity is the purest gem of this profession. And we know that a number of political forces, so many political forces have invaded the media scene. But there are a number of, just like Joy FM, City FM, and if I should mention names, a professional gem like Ben, who are examples of critical thinking, examples of objectivity, examples of making sure that our country is on the path of ascendancy and not retrogression. So this morning, on behalf of the intellectuals of this country, I admit that all have sinned and fallen short of glory. So we need to wake up, we need to shape up, and we need to ensure that this country moves forward and not backwards.
Well, you also know what they say about the worst criminals, right? The worst of them are those who are intellectuals. Intellectual criminals are the worst. Anyway. Bernard Mona.
Well,
your bite of the cherry.
Yeah, greetings to Dr. Afel Moni, a distinguished journalist, and to your good self. I never stop admiring you by the day.
Thank you.
I've been thinking. I think last week I spoke about the disturbances in Kenya, or is it last 2 weeks? And I've still been thinking about those who lead the struggles, and yet when it comes to taking over, they are lacking behind. And you can see that across the globe, that the many who are agitated by the deterioration of society will come up, lead the charge for change, take over the old order, and at the end, it appears that the old order is the one that is brought back. And so if you see the struggles of the Kenyan youth and the political compromises that are made today, where Raila Odinga and his political parties and other bigwigs are now going to be the beneficiaries of the blood, the sweat, the tear gas, and what have you of the young people. I felt and I feel that, look, the young people must rise. This is what we say in our language. Nobody goes to hunt for wild bees or honey. When you eventually, after bees have stung you, you put your hand and you touch the honey. Then you remove your hand and give it to somebody to lick for you. It doesn't happen. And so when you lead the revolution, you must take charge of the revolution. Otherwise, whatever you labored for, I can assure you, will not be manifested. Today, I didn't see Raila Odinga in the protest. He did not suffer tear gas. I didn't see a Kalonzo in the protest. He did not suffer the tear gas. Nobody touched him. And yet, they are the people to sit at the table to determine how Kenyan governments should run.
At least he's been a rallying force.
I feel, no, he was not part of the struggles. When they were throwing the tear gas, I'm not sure his children.
I think he's referring to the past, that he's been a rallying force, not necessarily with this Gen Z activism.
See, Raila is a political opportunist, I must say. I have stayed in Kenya a little bit. And it appears that every government, if he is not, but he must be part. And I'm sure you know about that. From the days,
there are administrations that he's been part of. I believe under Uhuru.
From every government. It's not just Uhuru. Even Moi Kibaki, everybody. You understand? Arap Moi, he has always played a certain part in the government. And so it appears that if he's not part, then Amajidom must befall the country.
But he will probably say, like we're also doing here, I was not president. You know, he would say I was not the one.
No, I'm just saying that at the end of the day,
just to situate it from
at the end of the day, they are the people who sit behind when the struggles is over or is simmered. Then they come up and then they benefit. And the young people that were leading the protests, where are they? Those who led the protest, who made the call that we won't tolerate it, where are they? I don't think that we can succeed this way. Across the continent, this is what has been happening, that we lead the struggle. When we are able to succeed at the end of the day, then somebody somewhere, either with his money, then turn around to be the face. And then that is the end of it, and then we go and sit down. And then we will be thinking about how our lives have been destroyed. I think that I want to encourage the young people that our destiny cannot be in the hands of those who have destroyed us today.
Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts, gentlemen. I will just go quickly to, I do not know which one of you watched yesterday, but we had that national pensions dialogue. You know, we've had a number of dialogues on different issues. And yesterday in the evening for 3 hours, we sat here with major stakeholders talking about pensions and everything in between. As we sit here, I'm just looking at us. Some are much closer to pensioning off, others are a little distance away. But the truth is that someday we'll all get to that point where we are feeble. The Bible says it, where food tastes like straw in your mouth and you don't get that joy anymore, where your joints are weak and all of that. That is where you want to fall on a social system to prop you up. But I was amazed yesterday. A lady claimed that she knew someone, a relative, who was earning 300. That was debunked because per the system, it's not supposed to be possible. But let's even set that aside. 430 Ghana cedis. I hear people are earning less than 500 cedis in this economy.
That's true,
What will it do for you in a month? The top 7% of earners, the richest of the rich, those who made certain contributions, are earning over 30% of the pie that is paid across. And 60+% are earning just about 20-something, 30%. So you see that the inequities, the problems are myriad. What are your reflections, gentlemen? I'll start with you, Bernard, on this bit. By the way, the highest earner is earning north of 160 something or 180 something thousand cedis a month. Of course, it is based on what you contribute. But the pension system is also supposed to standardize so that the poorest of the poor are propped up with their contributions and the rich are also pegged down a little. But there are problems. I can't go into all the issues, but what is your take? I'll start with you, Bernard, before we get into the papers.
Well, first and foremost, I recall when I was National Youth Organizer, alongside Haruna Idrisu, Mustafa Hamid, and Oteng Anane of the CPP, we were called upon to draft under President Kufuor the National Youth Policy and its framework. Initially, we went to Marina Hotel in Dodowa. And at that point, I was opposed to a national youth policy, even as a young man. When they asked me, I said, look, why are you talking about youth? When you go to the sporting arena, it is the youth. When you go to the security services, it is the youth. When you go to every sector, it is the youth. So what is it about the youth that we continue to talk about as if they are not catered for? What I was proposing at the time was a national development plan that will capture the interests of our young people. And even the young people, we needed to segregate them between young men and young women. We needed to cater for the aged, and we needed to cater for persons with disability. I'm sure Nana Akomia, if he's listening, will know my stance. In the end, I advocated strongly that, look, doing this, we are all going to transit to become old and eventually the aged. So if we did not at that time as young people prepare our minds towards it, it will give us a challenge. Those of my colleagues, including Kofi Adams, John Boydu, Oting Anane, I'm sure will begin to admit that probably what I was saying, if we had taken a critical look at it, would have been thinking about a framework that will cater for all citizens. Today we are all aging. We are all aging, either in our late 40s or in our early 50s. We are aging, so gradually we are getting to the pension. So, but we as young people failed to think that we will grow old. And our interest was to do a framework for young people in this country. Where are we today? Now,
and even the young people, where are they?
This is what we're thinking about. And so anytime I meet any one of them, I remind them that you people said you would not listen to me. So you see today where we are. We are also getting to where we are. Are we going to now start to think about the aged policy? Clearly, this nation has structured itself for the kind of mess that we live in. You see, you work within the public service. Government is able to provide you accommodation. Government is able to offer you a vehicle. But your income is not sufficient for you to own accommodation after you have exited job on retirement. What will you do? You have to find alternative ways to source money so that you can have your own accommodation because you are living in a government bungalow.
Yeah.
So how will you survive when you are no more? And normally 3 months after, you are asked to pack out. Pack out to where? Most of the people, actually because of jobs, they have migrated and disconnected from their own families and communities. So I leave Sankana and I come to Accra because of job, and I've been working here all my life. I've not made sufficient money from the work I'm doing to be able to put up a house anywhere. And I'm going on retirement and I'm asked to pack out of the bungalow because the next person has to come, and rightly so.
And that is a very, perfect picture you're painting, because a lot of our pensioners, a lot of them, respectfully, have to literally beg to survive, to live, because they can't get their medication.
Nothing.
Some can't pay rent. They are being thrown out. They can't pay for utilities. They have to live on the benevolence of others. And we've seen it even in the creative arts. Because those people are popular, from time to time we see it, oh, this actor, that actress, this former footballer, and all of that. It's the same problem that is leading them.
So this is how we have crafted our system. Said that it appears that you come to serve your nation and your nation leaves you to die anyhow. So when you are old, there is no accommodation. There's no aged home anywhere that will cater for persons of a certain age bracket. Some of them, they have disconnected with their communities and what have you. They cannot go back and integrate. And so you can see that it is a very sad picture. It is not just about the little incomes that they are receiving. And of course, if you are not earning much, and it is about 17-point-something% accumulative of your this thing that goes into social security contribution, how much will that be paid to you each month for you to survive? And so I am not surprised that if you check the mortality rate, it will tell you that many people die soon upon going on retirement.
True.
Many people. As soon as they go on retirement, then they say that, no, there's no driver to pick me to the office. I have to move out of my bungalow. So the stress and unimaginable thoughts simply lead them to their grave, when it is actually at that time that we need to have them to draw their wealth of experience to be able to guide our path into the future.
And Afil, another thing you would take stock of, as for taxation, will be taxed into the ground. Your taxes will be taken.
Yeah, sure.
But what must be done for you to also allow you to live in dignity at the end of your service to your nation. That one will not be taken care of. Some of the matters, we had a communique, we've not put it out here, but some of the findings and some of the comments, limiting government interference. In SNIT itself, in the MPRA, I mean, what happened recently with SNIT and Rock City, I've always said, I have nothing against Dr. Brian Echampo. We meet, we chat, we have a good I've met him about 4 times within the last how many months, and we laugh over some of these things. But how things went, should they have gone that way? Worker representation on the SNIT board, there's another major problem. Many companies paying you, maybe yes, because Mr. Joe Poku, who spoke for SNIT, the chief actuary, if you're earning 10,000, and you know they will pick your 3 best years salary and then strike the average and give that to you. So if it is 10,000 that it came to, now let's assume you earn 10,000 throughout. It means that you're getting about 60% of that, so that's 6,000 cedis, right? Yeah. Which means then if you're earning 1,000, you're getting 600 cedis. What can you do with 600 cedis? And how many people are earning 10,000 cedis? Do you see the bit? Yeah. So it's a major problem because in many companies too, you have them paying you, let's say they are giving you 10,000, but the 10,000 doesn't come as 10,000. Yeah. Let's say half of that, 5,000, comes as the perks of the job. Yeah. So your salary in reality is 5,000.
5,000,
yeah. So your SNIT is based on 5,000.
Not on the allowance.
Not on the 10,000. And these are some other aspects that people say need to be regulated. Your take?
I think we should tackle this issue with urgent promptitude because day in, day out, so many people are being sentenced to premature death because of the circumstances, hellish circumstances in which they find themselves. But my joy is that it's not a basket case. The antecedents have all underlined the need for us as a nation to take a hard look at SNIT, take a hard look at the investment made from worker salaries, take a hard look at management of SNIT, and help fix the chronically difficult problem at SNIT. You don't need the superfluity of social justice to see this palpable wrong against workers. So this is the time for all of us, especially the stakeholders, to sharpen their eyes, to ensure that governance issues, the interference, that animal called political interference, is shackled, so that SNIT, management of SNIT will have the latitude to invest wisely so that workers will also enjoy the fruit of their labor.
And let's get into the papers now. My final words, though, of course, some of those who walk the corridors of power, they stash away so much for future generations that they don't bother about pensions because in the end, what they have is
Bernard,
enough of a pension for 1,000 years. Anyway, let's get into the papers now.
I aim to lead the country. I don't aim to join those who are thieves.
Points well articulated and well noted.
Let's get into the papers, Bernard. I'll start with you. Which one are you doing first?
These ones. Well, the headlines of the Daily Guide newspaper, and I don't know why you gave me Daily Guide. You are always mischievous, though.
The paper will guide us.
I'm up to no mischief.
It will guide us.
If
you want to switch, I can switch with you.
Oh, no. I am a Democrat, so I accept what comes my way by sharing. Krapa commissions largest rooftop solar project. Speaker hosts Ivorian counterpart. Nana fulfills UHA's promise. Reform SHS policies to enhance students' well-being. That's Child Rights Institute International. 5,000 care a year to be trained NEIP boss. Now, I am keen about the solar rooftop project. And this is said to be about 16.8 megawatts of solar that is installed at the Free Zones Board by a private sector. The excitement, if I can glean from the newspaper, from the minister, is that the construction and the connection was completely done by Ghanaian engineers and Ghanaian workers. What it means is that we have the know-how to be able to fix or to assemble solar panels in this country and to make them work. What I am not sure of is whether we have the capacity to construct the solar panels. And whether
the capacity?
Yeah, to construct.
Well, I believe I interacted with, I don't know whether it was Professor Awandari or someone else recently, but we have made some little advancements. Yeah. I wouldn't say state-of-the-art solar, but I know there are entities here. You know, solar technology has become cheaper over time. Yeah. It's much cheaper compared to 10 years ago, 5 years ago. The capacity is not incredibly bad, but it's not world-class, I wouldn't say.
Because what we should be looking at is not to become consumers of people's products, but we should also begin to be producers of some of these things. All the time we import, and when we assemble, we praise ourselves. Every time, as we will call it, you become a fitter. You cannot do motorbikes, but you fit motorbikes. You cannot do radio, but you can fit the radio when it's spoiled. In fact, mobile phones that, when they get spoiled, probably the companies themselves will not be able to repair them. In Ghana, they will repair it for you.
Yeah, you can
understand. Yeah, because, and sometimes you are like, oh, let them take it back to the country, and they tell you, no, when it's spoiled, you go for a new one. So we don't have the capacity. But here, they can repair. I am thinking that we should have the capacity to do solar panels. It should not be any complex technology for our students at Tech, our students at the various technical universities.
You're going even too far when you say Tech. Yeah. At the secondary level.
At the secondary level, we should be able to do solar panels so that we can use them. I used to have a small boy from a community called Pagdingen. He goes around taking scraps and he will generate electricity from it. He without education. So I picked him to Sankana and said, hey, come and start schooling so that you can benefit from this knowledge. It's super. I got to his community, and he had actually done a solar panel, and he connected his own things to a car battery, and every time in the community there is light. And when I was trying to praise government for bringing the solar, they said, no, don't praise any government. This is our small boy. And they brought the small boy to me. So somehow, if we are able to mobilize such talents, give them certain training, not English. Because I think that our understanding of English is assumed to be education. And so when somebody cannot speak English, it means that the person should be emasculated from the system of contributing to the national growth. Look, English cannot be the panacea to our underdevelopment. I think that somebody that can speak Twi, somebody that can speak Dagari, and they do fantastically well. You take your vehicle and you say, come and sit in the vehicle. They sit in the vehicle and they are able to tell you where exactly the problem is. Not English. You understand? So yes, it's good that we have commissioned this at the Free Zones Board. Obviously, 16.8 megawatts will reduce the burden on the national grid so that we can offload that to other sectors of the economy. But hey, this is a private sector that has decided to do it. This is not a government initiative. How come that the renewable sector, energy sector, government is playing lip service? They don't want to invest much. And you are allowing private sector to be the major investor into the renewable energy sector. When you know that we have avalanche surplus of sun in our country, wind we have. I schooled a little bit in Germany, as you are aware. And in Germany, where they don't have so much wind, they have developed the wind mill.
You go the other way towards the Netherlands.
Yeah,
and all of
you
that.
see that they have the windmill that is generating electricity for them. Today, the energy mix component of Germany, the solar and renewable sector is about 40%. And so you see that even in those countries where you expect that they will produce or they will suffer high cost of energy, their energy is coming down because they are using other integrated systems to ensure that they reduce the initial cost of probably investing. And today it's gone down. I have a solar pump on my farm. And I can tell you that for the past 4 years, we have not bought fuel.
Oh, that's great.
You understand? We are able to pump water to be able to cater for about 300 to 400 acres of land.
Wow.
People get there. I mean, that is what we use to do our insecticides, our weedicides. That is what we drink. That is what our animals drink. And that is what we use for every other thing. And so, if you are able to do this, I can tell you that we'll go far. But government is like withdrawing and then allowing the private
enterprise. Private enterprise is supposed to boost this, but I keep forgetting whether it's Algeria or Morocco and what they have done there. Probably the biggest in the world. It is government sponsored.
Yes, totally.
And I think with the problems we've had with ECG, NETCO, and our power
should sponsor.
We are blessed with sunshine all year round. Especially even if we wanted to do even the northern belt of the country. And let NETCO pipe from there so that Akosombo and the others, the IPP arrangements we have, will cater for the south. We wouldn't be in some of the debt situations.
If you go to just near Togo and you see institutions, the ministries, all of them are powered by solar. So what prevents us from, for instance, from our major hospitals that we generate solar from there?
Indeed.
Our universities,
schools,
that we generate solar so that we can take them off from the national grid and allow where we can get commercial value that we send the grid to them. What is
MMDAs, all MMDAs, put them on solar. Anyway, I don't know whether you have any quick reflections before we get into it.
Inability to achieve energy peace of mind is a serious indictment on our sense of innovation and seriousness as a nation. And as you pointed out, by divine providence, we have sunshine and wind in overabundance. So what stops us, what shackles us as a nation from fixing our energy needs? So we thank the company for taking the right step, and I believe the authorities will double up to ensure that our institutions, our education institutions in particular, our hospitals, as we said, will not suffer light of as a result of cash problems.
I don't know why Robert Nesta Marley's words come to mind this morning. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. You're asking what the problem is. It's the mindset.
Yeah, mindset. Yeah,
it's the mindset. Any other?
Well, the next newspaper is the Citizen, and it says that Chief curses Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Achimota Forest being carved out. Then election 2024, Baumia Napope impeccable. Then Apostle asks pastors to avoid partisan politics.
This Achimota bit, but I'll have something to. I'm doing certain things. I'll have something to say on that in the coming days or week. It is
promises to be exclusive.
I will leave it.
Are you surprised that any time the New Patriotic Party is in power, there is an attempt to muscle Achimota Forest for themselves? Under President Kufuor, when Osafo Mafu was in place, he told us that why are we concentrating on having a forest of trees when we can actually get economic value from the forest? Osafo Mafu said those things, and they were actually determined to sell the forest. It took a lot of resistance, particularly from the Committee for Joint Action then.
I guess some people don't realize that when the trees are gone...
Oh, well, we are told that the last one...
And that the buffers, and especially with our flooding situation in Accra, once the trees go, we're a mess.
Why are you saying this? Are you not the same person that said that some people have touched money so much that they don't care about pensions? Such are the characters who want to destroy. So as soon as they destroy our land, they can migrate to other places. How many of such people have you seen that their children even have schooled in Ghana? The kind of education policies that they are propounding and putting for Ghanaians to attend, are their children here? It will turn out that it is their children that tomorrow will come and say they are Ghanaians because they have paper qualifications and to lead us. And I was at the University of Cape Coast with Professor Titus Bayo, where he said that he decided to enroll into an MBA program. And in the MBA program, he wanted to have knowledge, requisite knowledge, to be able to have some administrative capacity. Then when it was time for them to write the exam, the course rep or so, as they call it, came onto their group platform and said that, look, this lecturer, they should contribute some money and give to the lecturer so that the lecturer will make the examination easy for them. According to Professor Bayu, people that didn't get time to attend classes were the ones to contribute highest.
Wow.
So they were willing to get the paper certificate, but they were not willing to get the knowledge. And is it not clear that in our Ghanaian public life, many people have certificates that they are not able to defend or to even merit? And so many people just go, and then they are given certificates, they come. So you are in an institution and somebody come and say, now I hold a master's in this. Now I hold a PhD in this. Then the person is promoted to go and do the work that a PhD or a master's students will do. Then it's subordinates that will have to come and do the job for them. This is the lowest level that we have come across. And such characters are leading the Forestry Commission. Such characters are leading the ministries. How do you expect that we'll be able to think possibly about the consequences of
Yeah. For the sake of time, let's make tracks. Let's get into your
election 2024.
Which paper is that? The Daily Searchlight?
Daily Searchlight.
Right.
Election 2024 debate. Election 2024 debate. MPP MPs chase Mahama. And Mahama, the past, I am the future, according to Baumia.
In fact, the two of them are consigned to the past. I am the future.
No comment on that. And this, I think the call for debate should not be packaged to appear as if it's a lifeline, literal lifeline for Baumia. I'm inclined to believe that he can win the election without debate.
No, he actually can lose.
Pardon? He can win or he can lose. Omamas can also win or can lose without a debate.
I can win.
And you can say that this is, it's only anything to happen. More so, IA is not even ready. And we were told that they had not even contacted the contestants, but yet they came out with a release announcing the debate. That was a non-starter. So, and this country lacks an institution with the credibility to organize such a debate. Going forward, we need to make it part and parcel of our presidential system so that before you fire, you know that you be engaged in debate without waiting for calls from somewhere, which are laced with all kinds of motives. So this is my take.
Well, I wouldn't get into the
I need to talk about
whatever, but all I will say is this. You know, a debate in a way is like some sort of a lower form of argument. You are not arguing. You are just trying to make your point. I feel if our leaders did the right thing, there would be no need for debates. You know why? Because people can see. People are not blind. People can feel when we go to hospital. If you do the right thing, there will be no need for debates in the sense that, and I'm sure people will say, oh, even in the US, there is debate. If you've done enough, right, the people will debate for you. And they will debate for you in the elections. You would probably not need to say too much. It happened to us with teachers in school who were the best and those who were the worst. If they asked you today, oh, that immediately comes to mind, you remember, because they went over and beyond their capacity to make you get to where you've got to. I feel these talks about, I'm not saying it is irrelevant, I'm not saying it is unnecessary. I just feel politicians fail and then sometimes they think, oh, we can find ways of coming to ad-lib, say things, some of those that don't exist and paint a certain picture and we'll get away with it, past and present. I don't know, but again, I keep saying, we are very tolerant people. I'm not that tolerant.
Very.
I am not, unfortunately.
Well, just a little bite. I recall in the year 2000 when there was a debate, and President Alpha Moni would recall, Dr. Mahama came up as the finest debater with sharp ideas.
Edward Mahama.
Yeah. And that it was everywhere that Edward Mahama is the president that never will be because of the policy and the sharpness with which he responded to the questions. That debate did not yield the required result. And I'm just, so Afenyo Markins, for instance, who's pushing for the debate. Should Mahama win that debate, will that convince him to go and vote for the NDC?
That's the point. And when Bawumia, in the last two elections, 2016, 2020, when they at the time, you see, that's why I say we have to be careful. When they were telling
people are rigid,
the person who was then president, in 2016, go and debate the KIA, go and debate the nurses and all.
And then John Mahama
does he want to go and debate the people on the economy?
Debate. Akufo-Addo refused to debate when the sitting president was willing to debate.
So like you're saying, if we're going to institutionalize it, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
If you get to this point, you must espouse your ideas. Well, it's one thing, but this whole...
But my view is that it is not the IEA, and I'm sure that everyone knows my position on the IEA when I was General Secretary. And I said that we cannot allow national issues to be determined by an institution owned by a husband and a wife. And I meant it when I said so, because they will determine what to do and what not to do, and what will be the ground rules, and what we should accept. And I advocated that the National Commission for Civic Education should be responsible for such a thing. The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation should have the capacity to organize these things. And I think that every media house will respect that if Ghana Broadcasting Corporation takes it up. After all, that is the mother.
I mean, they do things and we all pay.
Everybody
it's not a problem.
And so NCC, if they take it up...
If we had the right system, NCC could be able to...
Yeah, so I think that this is where, if there is going to be a debate, that must be institutionalized. Either it is NCC or the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and then we take it from there.
It could even be both of them working together with the rest of us. We have about 2 minutes. What quick story would you like to reflect on?
Finder, Guta Hills media budget calls for...
Which Guta?
Guta.
It's not true. Is it not the same Guta that came and saying that the media budget did not help?
You need to look at which newspaper and how they... I mean, they will take an angle
but we
that they feel. You have to
listen to the Guta people when they responded instantaneously to the budget.
Bernard Mona, let's respect what they have put there.
Why are they lying?
We know.
They have the freedom to
lie.
To spin.
This one.
I feel money. We have to go. So let's quickly look at.
Creditors cash add 134 billion Ghana cedis to public debt in 6 months, and no decision yet to spill water from Akosombo Dam VRA.
Okay.
Yeah, and tourism hospitality should be seen as serious business. Professor Ishan. And
today, when we put up our currency exchange, the pound was exchanging, if you were buying it, 20 cedis, 40 per Swiss. Wow. The dollar is also, I think, still 15 and something. How do you do business in that environment? But right before we go, gentlemen, I saw, is it Bright Simmons post on, this thing that has come up, the vice president suggesting that, if he becomes president, people would get phones and pay 1 CD and 2 CDs. I'm giving you 20 seconds each. Just tell me, what do you think? Viable? After all, in other jurisdictions, they have these setups where you get a phone, you pay $9.99 and all of that a month till you are done paying. What's your take? 20 seconds maximum. I need you to be very brief on this.
The law of timing by John Maxwell state that if you do the right thing at the right time, it will bring success. If you do the wrong thing at the wrong time, bring disaster. If you do the right thing at the wrong time, it will bring resistance. If you do the wrong thing at the right time, it's a mistake. So that's my...
I like the way you put it. But I'm on 20 seconds. Just go for it.
I'm wondering, will the people of Ghana be looking for sustainable sources of income, or they'll be looking for a way to communicate that will increase their hunger? And young people will be seeking jobs and income levels.
Okay.
They will not be seeking mobile phones.
All right. Thank you very much. Bernard Mona is with Arise Ghana. Afil Money is former president. Roland Afil Money.
Roland is my colonial name.
Colonial name.
Colonialism.
Okay. Afil Money is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. We'll be getting into Prime Take with Mufta Nabila Abdullahi shortly, but Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helps us bring you this segment every weekday morning, and they're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Reach out to them at any of their branches, starting with Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma Abuehia behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama Nzema. If you'd like to call them, the numbers are 0244 867-068 or 0274-234-321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Up next, we serve you Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Do stay.
Hey, Baumia. The promises will not end there. Chai.
Thank you very much for your time. Hope you are doing well. Thank you. Yeah. You look good.
Well, by the God's grace, yeah.
Yeah. How did you come by the name Lord Zico? And in fact, it's been quite dominant.
It was given to me by my bosom friend, my brother, Oluwa Komenda.
Oh, okay. Komenda nicknamed you Lord Zico. Wow, that's quite an interesting one.
You'll be in a better position to
explain
the reason why.
But is it related to the Brazilian Zico?
Yes. Yes.
It's related to the Brazilian Zico. So tell me, for Komenda to nickname you Lord Zico probably shows that maybe you were as good as Zico.
Yeah, that is how the name came about, because that time Zico was on his top form in his prime, and even as it is now, a player emerged. Even here, they just take the name by force. It's not given to them.
Yeah.
They just take the name by force. Everyone wants to be Ronaldo, everyone wants to be
Messi.
So our time, that was also happening, but it's not common as it is now. I was on top of my football career, and Komenda gave me that name.
Lord Zico. Yeah, where were you born?
I was born in Kentampo.
Okay.
My father was a policeman.
Okay.
So he was traveling to everywhere he was posted.
Yeah, okay.
And Kentampo was where he was as a policeman.
Okay.
And that is where I was born. So some people think I am even a Bruno.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I come from Kumasi.
You're from Kumasi?
I'm from Kumasi. In the Ashantis, we come from where our mothers.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
From. So it's called Adankwame.
Okay.
Adankwame Kropon. It's about 25 minutes from Kumasi to that place. And my father is also from the Kwai Kukufu, also in Ashanti region.
Oh, okay. Okay. So how many siblings did you have?
How many?
Siblings.
My mother's side was, we are 8.
Okay.
And my father's side, 5 adds to it, so
13. 13 of you. Your child number what?
From my mother's side, 2. I'm the second born.
And your father?
My father's side, 7.
7. You are the 7th child of your father. Wow. Did your father play football?
He told me that. I didn't witness it, but he told me that he was a footballer. Those who are old will know what I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
My father said in Kokofu, they were having a team, and so the king of Kokofu was having 3 players, 3 children playing.
Yeah.
And they used to pass among each other. So there was a saying that Koko football so he said he was he said he was a striker.
Oh, okay.
And so my father really indeed ushered me into football.
He ushered you into football?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting one to hear. So how would you describe your upbringing when you were growing up? How was it like?
Being a police son, discipline was there for us.
Okay.
I was brought up in the barracks.
Okay.
And it's like we are among each other. When I got the chance going out because of football. My father encouraged me to play football. My mother would not. If I'll go out and come back late in the night, he said, no food for you because you didn't pan fufu also. But meanwhile, I have so many siblings, they can do it. But my father will always be there. He said, no. You wait for me and I will always eat with my father.
Oh, that's an interesting one. So you had a very supportive father.
Very supportive father.
Then, let me get one thing clear. Your elementary education, which schools did you attend? And then usher us into how you got into Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Okay. From Kintampo, my father was posted to Jasu.
Okay.
I started school there. Then he was also posted to Kintampo. There I started playing football as a young age, at the age of 7, 6, and 8.
Yeah.
At the age of 8, my father will take me to every Kotokomai.
Oh, okay.
Especially in Kumasi.
Okay.
And he would drive me in the morning, Sunday, early in the morning. That time, the stadium will be full to capacity,
yes.
Whereby by 10 o'clock, they will be even closing the gate.
Wow.
A match which is going to start somewhere 3 o'clock or 3:30. By 10 o'clock, it will be full. So you have everything with you, your food, everything, because when you sit down, there's no way you can get up and go, even to go and make...
Yeah, to go and use the washroom and all that, yeah.
It's very difficult. You can't get the access of coming to...
Yeah, back to your place.
Your position. So, my father, I was always watching Kotoko matches, and Ose Kofi was my idol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I cherish Ose Kofi a lot.
Wow.
When I was very young. And so, my father went to pension. He was pensioned. And we came to Kumasi because he was having a land at Oforikrum that he was building a small house for his family.
Yes, okay.
For his family. So we went and we relocated at Oforikrum. Then I started playing the course at Ahimfie. And years back, we were having so many ballpa around.
Oh,
when I say ballpa, you just go out and there's maybe Asafo.
Yeah.
There's a team there playing in the morning. Some will start 7 till maybe 12 o'clock. From there you go to Amokum. From there you go to Ashtown. From there you go to Krufrum and Tafo and so. So I'll go out Saturday morning. I will come back in the evening, Sunday.
Just playing football?
Just playing football. You play maybe at Asafo, then a team manager is waiting for you. After your game, he will also pick you up to somewhere, maybe from there, another team manager is also waiting. So that is how ball powers.
Oh, okay.
And every area, football was there in Kumasi. So then I was going to my elementary school. I started at Oforikrum. Then I went to Akrim.
Okay.
Akrim is just from Oforikrum. There's a railway line there, you go over it, then you come to Akrim.
Oh, okay.
Cross is Abuabo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Abuabo. It may be Abuabo.
Yeah.
So I was going, that's where I continued my elementary school. Then I was playing the school team. I play in the school. We used to call zones. Zone A, Zone B, Zone C. So I was playing for Zone C. And then I was also playing at the Ayinfie. Ayinfie was the Coles, where Otunfo Osetutu will do his Deba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That place was located for the Coles. So we used to play there every Saturday and Sunday.
Is it still there?
Now the course is there, but we don't play there anymore because that is where Nana
is doing his debats and all that. So how were you discovered to play for Kotoko? Was it through these Coles football?
Yeah, through the Coles football. One day, after I finished elementary school, I needed to go to secondary school. But it was also very difficult for my father because he was a pensioner. And having 13 children together.
Massive.
Yeah, so I was always like a co-borrow, going out to play football always to find dairy bread. So there was a guy, may his soul rest in peace, called Ajay Fobi, who was also a football fan. He was always coming to watch me at Ayinfie. And so I heard that in Efijasi Secondary School, they are doing late entrance. So I went there. When the boy spotted he was a student there, and he told the sports master that this boy, they should take me. So that is where I went. I started praying for secondary school football. Then that time, Polo was the fantastic player coming. So at Efijasi, I was also a young guy, good dribbler. I was very, very good in dribbling. And they named me Efisco Polo.
Efisco Polo?
Yeah. See, the oldest man you see was just also once a baby. I'm not shy to bring this players inside my conversation because it's reality. Yeah, so I was called Efisco Polo. Then one day I was also spotted going to secondary school, Form 3. Someone introduced me to Kotoko. They said, there's this boy, so we should try him and see. So the Kotoko bus came to Efijasi, picked me. There was a game that Kotoko is going to play against Highlanders. They were just, years back, it was not Premier, it was first, second division, and third division.
Many of the people I've spoken to on this show always say that there was amateur division, then there was Division 1, then there was no Premier League football.
There was no Premier. But the first division has been turned to Premier.
To Premier now,
Then I came and played at Kumasi Sports Stadium wearing Kotoko jersey. That was my dream. Because of my father, I was ushered into Kotoko. I love Kotoko with every breath of me.
And because of Reverend was Kofi as well.
I wanted to He was my icon. So you came and played the game. I was fantastic. The guy who was tackling me is having your structure called Mampalo. Very strong Hausa guy. And I was dribbling him left and right. Say, oh, Meku. So after that, I was like my dream come true. I was really, really happy that me wearing Kotoko jersey. And because of me, the bus will come to Efijasi to pick me for the training.
Wow.
So that was about 78. Ending of 78. So the league was coming to start 79 season. That time it was year to a year, not middle of a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kotoko said they would do Justify 1978 and then somewhere December. And Coach Afrani, may he so rest in peace, was the coach there. So I also came and participated. For sure, I thought I was on my way to Kotoko.
Yeah.
And after the
Justify,
Coach Afrani said I am too young. I was then 17 years then. Coach Afrani said I was too young.
Were you disappointed?
I was crying. That shows the extent that I was disappointed. I was crying. Then, well, God have a ways of promoting people. Every misfortune sometimes is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
So, Coach, I was going home from stadium to Oforikrum, and a man approached me. He was also a coach. He's called, may he so rest in peace, Coach Asante. He was coaching a second division called Asante Heroes.
Okay.
So he approached me and said, look, I want to take you to Takwa Gold Stars, because they were a new entry coming from second division.
Oh, okay.
Promoted.
Oh, okay.
I said, me, if not Kotoko, I won't play anything. He said, where do you live? I said, Oforikrum. He took a taxi, picked me up. We went to my father. We tried to talk to my father, convince my father. My father said, Akwesi, well, they said they will take care of you. Your school will be free. They will take care of your school fees and everything. So why don't you go with them? Me, my father, when he says sleep, I sleep. So I said, okay, I will go. That is where I went to Takwa.
Oh, okay.
Gold Stars. That was 79 season. I was then 17 years. Then I swear to myself within me, I said, whenever I meet Kotoko, I will score.
Show Mubia. So you are Akwesi?
So I am Akwesi.
Okay.
And when I went to Takwa, may also his soul rest in peace, Mr. Chumanji, who was the director of the Takwa Mines.
Oh,
He saw
okay.
me and said, this small boy, I will live with you. So
Oh,
he
really?
took me, yeah. So he took me as a son to his place. I was with his children, and I still stay in contact with them.
Wow.
I was with his children. He will take me to school with his Mercedes-Benz. Then after school, they will pick me up. Then I will go to training with the team. But I did something for myself. The Kotoko team motivated me to go extra mile every morning, consistently, 5 o'clock. You know, if you know Takwa, there's always hills surrounding the place. And our house, the director's house was in the middle of the mines.
Oh, okay.
So you have to go around a hill to reach there.
Okay.
And every morning, 5 o'clock, I will come out and run on the hills. Every morning. All because I want to score against Kotoko. And me, I believe training is the key. There is no juju in football. For me, it's no juju. It's about training, consistent training, committed to it. Then I developed, all of a sudden, I was developing thigh muscles and so because of the hill. Yeah. So when we started the 1979 league, first run, Takwa Gold Stars were on top of the league table. I scored 8 goals, even though I was playing as number 11. Then the national team, they were preparing to defend the 78 African Cup of Nations in Lagos, Nigeria. Yeah. So the coach, because of Takwa Gold Stars, we were out of the table, we were first on the table. He arranged a friendly match, they came to Takwa. That time, my senior Kukudazi, the legend, was the captain there.
Okay.
Yeah, that squad, we play against them at Takwa and we won 2-0. I scored the 2 goals. Immediately, the coach invited me to the national team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And because of what I was doing, I was good dribbler and so there, the name also followed me, Takwa Polo. Senior, thank you for giving me your name. I do appreciate it. So I became Takwa Polo also there. Then, lo and behold, I came to the national team. I met all these established players, the squad of the national team going to defend the cup, 1980. And I was learning. I was rubbing shoulders with him. That was even a pride for me. So I copy so many things from them. One thing about me is I am fast in learning when it comes to football. I can watch you, then pick some of your styles. Then I will start doing it myself, so it will become part of me. So then my captain of Kotoko that time, may his soul rest in peace, the late Opoko Friye.
Oh, okay.
Chen was also the captain. I was one of the youngest. Asasi, Albert Asasi also came. Papa Kun was there. So I learned so many things from my elders. And even though I didn't make the trip 1980 to Lagos, but I was called to the national team that time. And so Takwa Go Stars, I was a hero. My name is everywhere. And then Chanhe Opoko Friye started enticing me to come back to Kotoko. I said, me Kotoko there. So at Kumasi Sports Stadium, Takwa Go Stars against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. You were camping. There is now RFA has their office there. There was a camp there that every club that comes to play against Kotoko will go and camp there. So I was there when this, my friend, Ajay Fobi, came and said, Okuso, are you going to play against Kotoko? I said, yeah. And say, what are you going to do? I said, me, if Kotoko score 1 goal, I will equalize. It will be 1-1. If they don't score me, I will score. It will be 1-0. So we laugh. Then, lo and behold, during the game, fantastic. God was on our side. I was doing everything. Then, I think into the 25 to 30 minutes of the first half, I took a ball from center, dribbled through 3 defenders of Kotoko, then entered into the 18. I raised my head and saw that still the goalkeeper was inside. I pushed a little bit forward. That time I also have developed a shooting skills whereby I have the power in the legs. So I shot the ball and goalkeeper Fuseni, may he also so rest in peace, didn't move. If it was not because of the net, no one would say it's a goal. Because he didn't move. And 5 minutes to the end, Opoko Friye equalized, so it was 1-1. So everyone wants me back to Kotoko. Then it's like my dream has come to pass. So I stay overnight, and my father was called to Ayimfie to go and bring me back, because that time there was not any transfer thing there. And I couldn't come because that was the league has not ended.
Yeah.
But Kotoko supporters were playing very important role during that time of Asante Kotoko. They make sure that they will take me from Takwa and bring me to Kumasi. And it was not easy. The security there was not easy. So one day they planned with me. God forgive me, but maybe it's your will. They planned with me without telling the general mines director. They came and took my bags And I was waiting for the man to late Mr. Chimechi to go and sleep so that I can run away with the supporters. That time, there was a train sleeper. You sleep overnight, then you reach the following morning. So they were waiting for me, 12 o'clock, I will go down. Then I was watching TV, knowing that my boss is asleep. Then all of a sudden he came from the room and he said, I was watching him. He dressed up, he went into the mirror and he went out. I didn't know what was going on. I was still watching TV. Then he came back with my bags and said he saw certain people stealing my bags, running away. So he went and brought back my bag for me.
They came to steal them.
Yeah, he didn't talk, so he went inside. I was really disappointed. So,
now, but what made Kotoko so special that you always wanted to play for Kotoko? What made it so special?
You see, most of the European countries, they do it, the clubs. If you are ushered as a young chap, it goes inside you.
Yeah, it becomes a part of you.
It becomes part of you. And Kotoko was Kotoko that time. Because Kotoko was one of the clubs in Ghana that bring Ghana's name to the map.
Okay.
With the Osekofi's group, with those that won the first African Cup for Kotoko Infum, Baba Yara was there, all these players. And so, they also pulled the crowd. It's very, very important. They pull the crowd.
I can understand.
That makes Kotoko special. And their teaming supporters, they love their club in such a way that so much as whatever, if the going is good, whatever you need in Kumasi, it's not about the club, but it's about the supporters. They heal their support, they heal their players. You go out and you want something, it's free, they will give it to you. Whether it's drugs, whether it's food, everything it goes. It's the supporters that make Kotoko team or players want to play for Kotoko. It's not about the management also, it's about the teaming supporters. They love their club to the heart. It's like, Kotoko is like a kingdom that people worship. It's true. Every Kotoko player.
So you've benefited a lot from the generosity of Kotoko supporters.
Kotoko make me who I am. That's why I wish I can do more for Kotoko.
What are the benefits you got from playing for Kotoko?
When I came also to Kotoko, now the treasurer of Kotoko, which is the late Mr. Sapon, he also courted me. I was 18 then, said he will live with me. So I was like one of his children. I eat there, I sleep there, I do. The only thing he wants me to do is to pray for him. And aside that, I was at Ahmadiyya Secondary School. They were taking care of me. Yeah. Me and Albert Asasi. We were a student there. Then the family is there. Every Kotoko supporter see you outside, they hail you. That time it was not all about money, but it was about the fame. It was very important. In the Bible it says that good name is better than riches.
Yeah.
Our time was the good name. Even though now is the riches, but our time was the good name.
That's a good one. Now it is riches. No longer have a good name.
Yeah. But the love of the game
was also there.
I love playing football. Football is everything. I dream football. I eat football. I sacrifice my life for football. I discipline myself for football. And one thing I always said to myself, during that time I said, look, I want to do something that will make my supporters happy all the time. So my training never ceased. I train a lot. I sacrifice a lot. Me, you won't see me outside. No Kotoko supporter will say he saw me in disco here or here or here. No, no. From the training grounds to home, to my house. From house to the training grounds, then to the stadium. It's hardly you see me outside. And so whenever people sees me, they wonder. Sometimes they don't believe it's me. Because they say my structure on the field looks as bulky guy. Yeah. So they see me and say, are you Opokunti? I say, yes. People doubt. Yeah. People say, no, he's the one.
He's the one.
Yeah. So football was everything. But you need to have passion for it.
For the game. How many seasons did you play for Kotoko?
80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Went to Switzerland for 2 years. 86, played for Kotoko to 88. Went back to professional Switzerland again.
What were the challenging moments playing for Kotoko?
The challenging moment was to fit into the squad, because we were about 16 players. That has been the philosophy of Kotoko. Of late, it has not been like that. That's why Kotoko is suffering. Sims, may so rest in peace, the chairman then, Sims Kofi Mensah, from 75 to 1979 has dominated. That is where they were having the fearsome five.
Yeah.
With the person of Mama Akwa, Nasedu, Mohamed Polo, and
Reverend spoke about that. He said anytime Mohamed Polo had the ball, he will look at the four of them will go. He decides who to give the ball to go and score.
Yeah. So then 79 came that they started massive recruitment, picking every quality player from all the clubs. We were brought together. And I always say that a good team is a team that have good substitutes.
Yeah.
And we were all master in our own eyes. And we came together, we need to fight for the position. And that was the challenging movement.
Talk to me about the 82 AFCON. That was the AFCON, the last AFCON we went and we won. What was your role like in that team? Because it was like one of the highest peaks of your career.
Yeah. I was then, is it 82? So 80, 81, 82, about 21 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was about 21 years. And Kotoko players, we were about 8 of us.
In the team?
In the team. And even it happens that the president, late president, Hillary Mann, said they don't have money, so we are not going. Until the revolution came, whereby Rawlings came and said, no, you are going. It was left about only 1 month. So Ghana decided to go. We were at men's room, running on the beach all the time. The facility was not good, but as I said, the sacrifice was there. During the national colors was also, it's not about now people want to go to professional, but the years back everyone wants to be in the national team. It's the stepping stone. Your club is the stepping stone to the national team. We were training very, very, very hard. But the sacrifice was too much. Sometimes food to eat was also difficult.
Really?
Oh. As for Ghana, God gave us the talent and everything, but what we need to infuse in it for it to become one of the greatest football continents, we are not doing it. The sacrifice was too much, I tell you.
What were we supposed to do then?
What can we do? We are under the military rule, isn't it?
So
do you want to die premature?
What they command, you go.
We go. So we went to Libya as underdogs. And lo and behold, we were playing against the nation the host nation, Libya themselves. As a matter of fact, Gaddafi hosts this thing fantastic. It's one of the best tournaments.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say some things that I haven't said before.
Ghana for Indilo, Memamwache. Good morning. It's another opportunity to share thoughts with you, my thoughts, my blunt thoughts with you on very salient matters, matters crucial to our national life. And today I've titled my blunt thoughts of lies, losses, and leeches. Why Ghana keeps bleeding. You know what a leech is, right? Latches onto you, sucks your blood out. That's what they do. Of lies, losses, and leeches. Maybe I should have said political leeches. Why Ghana keeps bleeding. Ghana for, it's straightforward. And again, I'm going to share two stories with you very briefly today. One, in fact, is just a little bit of a line. Abraham Lincoln, good old Abraham Lincoln once said, I may walk slowly at this point in my life, but at least I am still walking forward. I'm not staying at one point. I may walk slowly, but thank God I'm not walking backwards. I'm walking forwards. There's a lesson in there that I'll share with you shortly. But there's another little story. Vera Henry, maybe not many of you have heard from or know about her, but she was an ace author in her day. The story is told of how she won a women's award, Best Author Award in a women's category. And a friend of hers called way back in the day to salute her. It was her son, Kevin, who picked up the phone. And Kevin's response when the woman said she wanted to speak to the author of the year was this: the author of the year is down in the basement doing the washing of the week. The author of the year is down in the basement doing the washing of the week. She was getting her hands dirty. The fact that she was an ace author didn't mean she was, she was doing the work that had to be done. The lesson from Abraham Lincoln, move forward. Things have got so bad that on many scales, in many arenas of our national life, we are not moving forward. We are retrogressing. We are going backwards. And at best, in many areas, we are merely static, stagnant. Then you look at the Vera Henry story. The lesson in there is service. Author of the year, washing in the basement. That is something our leaders don't know. Our misleaders. They don't know that. Service must be those of us serving them. And one critical thing that we can look at, recently again, former Chief Justice Ifeanyi Akufo has been speaking. And she talks about how these same misleaders will run down state institutions, run them down with the motive of buying them, acquiring them for themselves, run them down, sell them cheap to themselves, and then make a profit out of them. I've not mentioned anybody's name. It's so sad, maddening at the same time. Yesterday, I spearheaded that pensions conversation, and you look at people earning 430 cedis a month. Yet we are not thinking as a country. So the lies, the losses, and the leeches, I'll tell you about them as I get to my slides. Let's start with the mid-year budget review. No new taxes were introduced, thank God for that, but they didn't take away any of the taxes either. Road tolls are to be reintroduced in 2025. Get ready. Like I said, I'm not against road tolls, but if you said another thing was replacing it, aka the e-levy, and now you come back and say you're reintroducing it, I can only look at you as a hypocrite. That's the only way I can look at you, because you lied. You're a liar. A cut in expenditure is the claim in an electoral year. If they succeed in doing this, I will applaud them. It was done in 2016. Yes, you could say that the IMF squeezes you. I hope they will be able to do this as they have started out on that journey. Next slide. But then you look at our public debt stock. By end 2023, we're looking at 608.4 billion Ghana cedis. By end June 2024, we're looking at 742 billion cedis. The increment, 133.6 billion cedis. That's a 22 percentage point increment in just 6 months. But there are reasons, right? Let's get to the reasons. Let's go to the next slide. The cedi's depreciation effect, as of today, when we gave you our currency market in our business updates, you would notice that the pound was selling, if you were going to buy it, 20 cedis, 40 pesos. The dollar still over 15 cedis. And then continuous disbursement from creditors. Of course, you know what that means. It has a knock-on effect, and you will keep incurring losses, especially when your currency is flip-flopping. Next slide. So if you look at our public debt composition, external debt versus domestic debt, you're looking at that total of, the overhang of 742 billion Ghana cedis, yes. But 452 billion of that, accounting for 60.9%, is external debt, and 290 billion, accounting for 39.1%, is domestic debt. You put that together, you have that albatross around our necks, 742 billion Ghana cedis. The cumulative depreciation against the dollar this year, our cedi, 18%. Almost 1/5 of the value of our cedi wiped off, taken away. 18%. You need 2 percentage points, and then you would have hit 1/5 of it. Value gone. So if you're bringing any goods into the country, if you're purchasing the fuel that you purchase because you know how we acquire them, especially with what is happening with toll and everything in between, you know what time it is. And that's why we are in the straits we find ourselves, dire straits. But then you do the comparative analysis. End 2023, if you are looking at our debt per capita, in simple terms, if we're all forking money out of our pockets to pay for Ghana's debt, how much would we be paying? By end of 2023, each of us would have been paying 18,850 Ghana cedis. And mind you, many years back, when some people wanted power, they went around saying, as of now, if we were to pay, each person will be paying 4,000 Ghana cedis plus. Today it is 18,850. That was even end 2023. By June 2024, and now it would have increased marginally, but by June 2024, if each of us is to pay for Ghana's debt, we would have to fork out 22,989 cedis and 40 pesos, basically 23,000 cedis. I want to ask, how many of you ordinary Joes, don't tell the politicians, don't add them to this equation. How many of you ordinary people out there have this amount of money sitting in your account? How many of us have this sitting in our accounts? But that's what we owe. The increment, 4,139 cedis and 40 pesos. Let's go to the next slide. But now, I also want us to cast our eyes. Remember, I spoke about lies, losses, and leeches, blood-sucking leeches. Focus on ECG's losses. According to the Auditor General's report, some of our state institutions, that's part of where the problem is. Good morning to Samuel Dubik Mahama. He's doing a good job, but there are still problems. If you look at ECG's losses, 2021, 1.9 billion cedis. 2022, 10.2 billion cedis. The difference, 1.3 billion. That's an increment of 433.5%. Let's go to the next institution. Then you look at the Ministry of Education. Dr. Educhum, good morning to you. 55% of total procurement irregularities came from the Education Ministry. Dr. Educhum, what is happening? Miniyano. 55% of all of them came from the Education Ministry. I'm sure you are reading between the lines. I don't have to say anything. But one thing that really stokes my anger now, like how far will we go? And I've spoken about lies initially, losses just gone by. Now I'm talking about leeches, bloodsuckers, vampires. Timelines, the ambulance spare parts deal. 9 February 2024, Finance Ministry approves the deal. And 14th February 2024, the Finance Minister is reshuffled. Of course, Opana knew that it was going to go down. Next slide. If you look at the amount involved, ladies and gentlemen, 34.9 million Ghana cedis. Even if you multiply by a factor of 10, right? Don't use the 15, 10. That is 349 million Ghana cedis. So you add another half of that, you'd be getting around what? 500 million Ghana cedis. Let's go to the next slide. Amount per ambulance, given the 307 that was spoken of, right? You are looking at, and I'm talking about spare parts too. I'm not talking about the cost of an ambulance too. I'm talking about spare parts. That deal, spare parts. From what we've seen, Mimbo Obiedi, Kawakuma Tuyim. Spare parts in thousands of dollars, 113.6 thousand. Nakana Nkasa saying, how much is the ambulance? You'll find out. Next slide. But the cost effectiveness check, given the initial cost of a new ambulance. Now, please go back to the last slide. The last slide told us that the spare parts were going to cost us 113,000 thereabouts, right? The initial cost of a new ambulance, 133,000. And so of the 34.9 million, we could actually secure brand new ambulances, 262 of them. What do you say? Anyway, so this is the tail of the tape. Let's go to our final slide. Now, if you look at the company in question, comments from the Auditor General's reports, the company was not registered but had a contract with the National Ambulance Service for maintenance works. Follow me, I'm not saying anything, just read between the lines. The company used staff of the National Ambulance Service for the maintenance works and received payments for the services. The company was inflating invoices. This country, I keep saying, if we are not careful, one day we'll wake up and there will be no Ghana. Because someone would own the Ghana and it will be left to G for us who are left. Ebeka G, no, then what we'll do with the G, only God knows. We may have to seek other, countries' passports. I can't, everybody survives with money, right? But sometimes I ask myself, how much is too much? How much till you are enough? You have enough, or you are satisfied? How much? I've not mentioned anybody's name. But if these are not shady, if these are not shoddy, if these are not leeching activities, then I don't know. Like Sophia Kufu said, they'll run down stuff and sell it to themselves cheap. And when you say this, some people on the other side, for whom you speak, for whom you are fighting, because they are foot soldiers, because the political class has made them dependent on them for their bread and butter, they will accuse you, insult you. But the truth, like I always say, is one. No kreno eye bako pe You can paint it white, black, green, it remains the truth. And it runs around naked, by the way. That's why I speak and say it as it is. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. I pray that God will not just bless Ghana, but that he will give us wisdom to think, both leaders and followers. Because maybe a Ghana econo, a yasefim, a nyai, a time. Have a wonderful day.
The amount of land we need for the sugar, the type of sugar we can grow here, all those things were not properly organized. I think the our organization, and also the between strategic investor and also it to me about Bisomu.
President Akufo-Addo making a promise to the people of Komenda. That was 5 years ago.
The Dikan Sugar Factory. Still, some civil works are being done there. Nyampa, by the end of March, it will be completed. And as I say, planning, no, Indian phone by whatever, by April, production will have begun of the sugar factory.
President Akufo-Addo promising the people of Komenda again when the chiefs of Komenda paid him a visit at the Jubilee House. And yet another promise in 2021.
According to Chairman Teng and the people in the Ministry of Trade, arrangements are one year by the first quarter of 2022. Now factory is going to start running again.
And another one in 2022. Other promises have been made to the people of Komenda by the president, but each time their hopes are dashed.
Unrefined sugar setup this one.
The setup for the unrefined sugar is too small.
See, I try machinery. I am his machinery.
Deputy Trades and Industry Minister Michael Ochibefi announcing that government will be importing raw sugar to feed the factory.
Now the best we can do is because of America.
Now the best we can do is to import raw or unrefined sugar from South America until we get our own plantation.
The latest is Works and Housing Minister Kojo Opon-Kroma. Mr. Opon-Kroma, who was on a tour in the area, told the chiefs and people government needed their support in order to operationalize the factory.
Processed.
We don't have a plantation to feed the factory. What is left is to get raw sugar or unrefined sugar. When they are bringing it like that, government needs to waive the taxes on it to make it affordable. Our friends on the other side do not want to support it. We are appealing to you to intervene so they can allow us get the unrefined sugar to operationalize the factory.
This hasn't gone down well with the people.
Ministers what by how be do. I may won't pay me bufu.
I get angry. The deception by some ministers who come here. I am a carpenter, so when I hear that a minister is coming, I know that he won't come and say anything good. I only have to concentrate on the job I have learned to take care of my family.
I go find amba Komenda amba ka sem pepe bia ma engine ndi pasa wa gban so many years abado
I won't say anything that President Akufo-Addo says.
Second 4 years
consistently
also
lying to us. The last 4 years he deceived, and he deceived us in his second term as well. So does he expect us to vote for him when he failed both?
In the market square here, scores of people have gathered in an indistinct charter, the Komenda Sugar Factory is one of the conversations that does not struggle to find place in what folks talk about here.
They have wasted the land. We could have used it to build a mansion. It is better than leaving it in the state in which it is now. People feel that the Komenda Sugar building is a deity.
Since 2015, now, meanwhile, I'm property. Since I'm property, Ghana property. Commander. Now that's why the workers are off. I didn't use for nothing.
Ishmael Kobna talks passionately about the Komenda Sugar Factory and how disappointed the community folk are.
Sugar factory now, when we are sure,
They have not planted any sugarcane here. Our prayer was that they would have grown some sugarcane to feed the factory. What we have observed is that the thought processes of our leaders is questionable.
The disappointment of Francis knows no bounds. Francis and his colleagues here say they have lost hope in government.
There was a now me menjuntum sabu hey we asaso he
people are saying that they say they will import raw sugar to feed the factory. What we wanted was for them to support the farmers to plant the required sugarcane. This is really appalling.
The factory, commissioned in 2016 with a $35 million Indian Export-Import Bank loan facility and an additional $24 million to bolster the activities of sugarcane outgrowers, suffered operational challenges and does not produce any sugar for the market. The residents here say they won't forgive government for looking on for such a project to go waste. Heading to the Komenda Sugar Factory, I meet Isaac Boama. Isaac says he is MPP but is embarrassed by the turn of event here. He says day in and day out, he gets trolled by his people over the Komenda Sugar Factory and want government not to let down the trust of the people.
We don't know what is even happening. We have been looking forward for the factory to be operationalized so we the drivers can get a boost in our work. We are suffering. We are pleading with the president to operationalize the factory. They always troll me about this sugar factory. It is because of Percy, who is contesting the KEEA seat. That's why I am in the NPP.
Former board secretary of the Komenda Sugar Factory, Ransford Vani Amwa, believes government posture about the Komenda Sugar Factory leaves much to be desired and want government to fix the mess.
So from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, they still not grew sugarcane. They've not assessed that second tranche of loan, which was approved by Parliament of Ghana. And only to tell us that because we did not develop the canes, that is why they want to import sugar, and they are requesting for a tax waiver so that they will be able to. It's a deception. They only want to deceive the people of Ghana.
Upon an RTR request by Joy News, government has revealed that apart from the $35 million and the additional $24 million facility, government has further pumped in over 52 million Ghana cedis.
In 2019, government indicates that there was an offer by Pack Agrotech to take up a concession instead of outright purchase of the Komenda Sugar Factory. The offer was considered the most competitive because the ownership of the factory would be retained by government, whilst Pack Agrotech invests $28 million in the company and pays a $3 million annual concession fee to government for 15 years. That is a total of $45 million. However, there was a delay in concluding negotiations between lawyers of PAC Agrotech and PwC in respect of the conditions precedent for the concession agreement to come into force, citing COVID-19 restrictions. PAC Agrotech couldn't meet the deadline to reach a final determination of all guarantees, and the Ministry of Trade terminated the transaction, and the management and operation of the company was handed over to the board to make a determination on the way forward to revive the company. According to the ministry, to avert further delays, the board took over the revival of the factory and started the process of operationalizing the integrated sugar development project with the support of the ministry and the One District, One Factory initiative. A facility of 46,350,000 Ghana cedis has to date been disbursed by the partnering financial institutions, that is, GCB Bank, CBG Bank, and Prudential Bank, for the comprehensive overhauling and retooling of the factory and the addition of a raw sugar handling system to refine raw sugar. Another facility of 6.2 million Ghana cedis was also disbursed by CBG Bank to cover the purchase of sugarcane and other operational expenses during the test run period.
On the streets of Komenda are thousands of eyes and ears still eagerly waiting for government to do the needful by ensuring that all these monies pumped into the revival of the sugar factory do not go down the drain. Richard Kwejonyako, Joy News, Komenda.
This conversation on the Komenda sugar factory. 30+ million invested initially. Now we've been told that over 50 million Ghana cedis has also been pumped into that white elephant. What is the way forward? We start that conversation. Sweetie Abochi is here.
Yeah, we do have the ranking member on the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee in Parliament, as well as an opinion leader in Komenda, Isaac Mensah. Both of them will be joining us to get into the nitty-gritty of what's happening really at Komenda in terms of the operationalization of the sugar factory. I think we should start by listening to the opinion leader, Ben, Indeed. And then we'll bring in the ranking member. So, Isaac Mensah, if you can hear me, thank you for joining the program.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So we've watched the documentary, we've listened to some of the people speak. Most of them are saying that even when the ministers are coming, they don't think they're going to say anything other than what they've experienced themselves. But you tell me, what is the situation as we speak? And what are the people saying?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to use this medium to say good morning to everybody who's listening to Joy News, and also the good job that you are doing to serve the good people of Ghana and beyond. On a more serious note, if you mention Komenda Sugar Factory, then you step the wounds of the Komenda citizens. It is very painful. But I'm so emotional, I'm in tears, as you mentioned the sugar factory. It is one of the factories that serves, if I'm not mistaken, the whole central region. But what really worries me so much, Nana Akufo-Addo, Bawumia government promised Ghanaians they want to move from God's regime into industrialization. Whatever they are going to do for this nation is bad. Industrializing, promising a whole lot of things, bring hopes to Ghanaians. And they promise 1D, 1F. But now, there is a factory ready built by the XY Mahama government. They have built completed. But they were accusing the government that they did not do diligence by not planting sugarcane. How long for sugarcane to be planted? How long? Sugarcane, how long does it take for it to grow? So now, as we are speaking, the factory has been abandoned. If you go there, you will not see anything there besides snails, grass cutters, school, and what have you. Nothing is going on there. We don't know what we have done to Nana Akufo-Addo. We don't really know what we have done. Before Komenda and its values will suffer such, painful situation like this. The olden time sugar factory, the whole sugarcane plantation that they were using for the factory for milling was being produced by Komenda and Eastern Virus. The Komenda and Eastern, that's Komenda traditional area. That's where they were having the sugarcane plantation to feed the factory. But then as I'm speaking to you, if you go to Tema, they have cocoa processing factory there. Ask me where of Tema, the whole community, that they have one cocoa tree over there. But they are producing there. If you think they don't have a space for Komenda to get the sugarcane, you can extend your hand because Ghana is Ghana. And to my surprise, we traveled to our mechanism then, during the then Minister of Trade and Industry, in charge of industries. We met him and this man contracted us. He charged us that we should make sure to acquire a land of 1,000 and plus acres. I mean, we got more than 20,000 acres land, virgin land.
Are you saying that the former Trade and Industry Minister, Alan Chamanting, directed you to acquire 1,000 acres of land, and you acquired more than that?
More than that.
Wait,
more than,
Isaac,
more
hold
than
for me. I just, for clarity,
Isaac,
hold on a second.
Sure.
Now, the government is saying that there's no plantation to feed this factory. Was there any point in time where the people of Komenda or neighboring communities actually planted sugarcane, for clarity's sake?
We have a lot of sugarcane around Komenda and enclaves. If you travel from Komenda, you went to the hinterland of Komenda, you see a lot of sugarcane. People are now, cultivating the sugarcane, turning into molasses.
Yes,
and then,
I'm asking you that upon that directive that you should acquire that 10,000 acres of land, did you actually proceed to plant these sugar canes for the purpose of feeding the factory?
No, we were asked to make sure that we acquire such land. If you can really get the land, they are prepared to make sure that they will come and then put that land into use by planting sugar cane. And we'll make sure that we got more than that from such a human. A very vast land, virgin land. Even there was a prayer river that passes through, which means in case of irrigation, they will not find it difficult to irrigate those farms. And we just acquired the land, we reported and everything, and there was nothing done as I'm speaking to you. Nothing done. We did not hear from our mechanism again before. Finally, I don't know whether he was fired or he retired or he resigned or what have you. As I speak to you, nothing has happened. We don't know what is happening. We don't know what is going on.
Can you describe the current state of the factory to us? Do you think it's ready to go?
I can describe to you as a container from a container which are broadcast from maybe the hinterland, they're now being painted. A container will be being painted, be repainted. That is what I can really tell you about the factory. They just came to paint the place and read around, and now as I speak to you, if you go there, you see trees, all sort of. In fact, it's very appalling. It would be very good that you come to the ground and see things yourself. I don't want to exaggerate. I don't want to say something that may be sound so something in somebody's ear. But if you come to the ground to see what is happening, whether you like it or not, they promise us heaven, but we are now going into hell, deep down to hell. We don't know what is happening.
All right.
People of Komenda, look, man, let me tell you one thing. Komenda is a fancy area. Let me just give you this scenario. And Komenda, the fancy areas, we being named Kofi, Kwame, Kofi, and what have you. But during the era factory, during the old time factory, if you come to Komenda, you will hear the name Achipo, you hear Kokuvi, you hear all sort of words of Ghanaian citizens were then residing in Komenda because of the factory. So the factory was then feeding Ghana, not Central region. It was feeding Ghana, even down to even Nigerians and Liberians were even down here working. So it's more or less feeding even West Africa. That factory alone, it was feeding a lot of people in the state of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. But surprisingly now, even that during that era, the factory then wasn't big like this one. This is bigger than that one. So I believe when they'll be able to put this one in operation, it will help and it will save this nation from where we are finding ourselves. Now look at the amount of money that they spend for importing.
All right, Isaac, don't go away. Hold, stay on the line with us. Benjamin, he's saying that this factory is now a container that has been painted and repainted. Should we speak to the ranking member now?
I think we should. Mr. Sulemana, thank you for joining the conversation. Good morning to you, sir. Yusuf Sulemana, if you can hear me, please unmute.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Sulemana, can you hear me? All right, so we'll try to get Yusuf Sulemana back. Maybe we can continue with the conversation with the opinion leader and get Yusuf when he's available.
So, Isaac, what are you asking the government for as we speak? What are your demands? What are you requesting the government to do as pertaining this sugar factory that you have described as a container that's just been repainted and repainted with no use?
Yeah, let me tell you, Frank, framework is not achieved. There's nothing, and absolutely nothing this government can do for the people of Komenda now, as I speak to you. How long for the election to take place? So whatever any attempt that they make, which means they want to come and deceive people of this very, holy state, because this place is called Holy Komenda. Any attempt that they make now, I don't think people will really take them serious, because we know politicians always come, dominate, action. But we are going.
Isaac, I must say that. Isaac, I must say that's not progressive. If you say that there's nothing they can do or say that will, turn the situation around. But this is where we are, and we need to proffer solutions. What are you asking for? They'll take you seriously this time. What are your demands?
My only demand, if indeed they promise 1B, 1F, the fact is already about, they should come and do the needful. Whatever is expected for them to help the people of the nation and help the people of Komenda and Central Region and beyond, they should just come and do something. Before, I don't know what happened. They should come and do what they promised Ghanaians, that they want to create jobs. Industrialization. We are just waiting for them to come and do whatever they promised us. The hope that they gave us was so huge. But they put hopes in us that we need to know that we've got somebody that is going to really turn Ghana into heaven. But we don't know that. We are now going into the grave, not even into the hell, but grave. What is happening?
All right. Don't go away, though. Hold for us.
Let's bring in Yusuf Sulemana. Yusuf is, of course, ranking member on the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee of Parliament. Mr. Sulemana, good morning.
Ben, good morning. How are you?
I am well. Under the circumstances, I hope you're well, too.
I'm doing well.
Right. When you look at the Komenda Sugar Factory, it is one of those blots on our national conscience. Tor, Komenda, in my mind. But when you look at Komenda today, after the investments of your administration and the investments of this administration still lying fallow, what do you see?
Ben, I think you rightly described the state of the Komenda Sugar Factory as a white elephant. It is a white elephant because the objectives for which it was set out to do, none of these objectives have been achieved. The then government decided to invest in the Komenda Sugar Factory, one, in order that we are able to create jobs, both direct and indirect jobs. As I speak to you today, the Komenda Sugar Factory has not been able to employ anybody. So in that respect, it is a white elephant. Again, it was set up to also ensure that we have sugar importation drastically reduced into this country. And for that matter, to become an import substitution factory. That has not been achieved. And then again, if we had done that, it was going to also strengthen our city. That also has failed us. So clearly, I agree that it is a white elephant. And the most interesting part of it is the deceit of the people, government.
Hello, Mr. Sulemana. Yusuf Sulemana, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me, Mr. Sulemana? We appear to be...
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now. We lost you for a few seconds, about 5 seconds. All right, we'll have to reach out to Yusuf Sulemana one more time. But of course, we're having these conversations on the back of what our latest Hotline documentary reveals as far as the Komenda Sugar Factory is concerned. This sugar factory goes way back in time, even planning into the days of Nkrumah. It was bequeathed to us, and since that time, we've been playing tag with it. This government comes, touches let's go. Another government comes, touches, let's go. It's like playing, you know, when children are playing tag, you're it. And then they touch you and it's just touch and go. And the promises, you know, what kills me? Sometimes how our leaders, past and present, can look us in the eye, tell us, oh, we'll do this by this time, by that, and nothing. I mean.
And that's why the people are frustrated. They say they don't even expect them to say anything more than what they've said and haven't done. And I think we just we reconnected with the ranking member, and he was in the middle of making a point.
Yusuf Sulemana, please go ahead.
Ben, I was saying that I rightly agree with you when you describe the Komenda sugar factory as a white elephant. It is a white elephant because all the objectives that it was set out to achieve were failed in achieving them. One, it was to create jobs.
I think we got that part. We got that part about
So where do I continue from? Because I lost the conversation.
So I want you to continue from the fact that both your administration and this current administration have failed to get this up and running. I mean, as ranking member on this committee, I don't know how much you've done in recent times since there's been a reshuffle and all of that, but how much you've done in recent times to salvage the situation. Look, this administration is also saying it has pumped in over 50 million Ghana cedis. 50 million Ghana cedis. That's what, about $3 million plus to get this up and running after your investment. Still, nothing to show for it. Where are we going?
Ben, let me disagree with you that you cannot describe the intervention of the NDC as a failure. We have been able to revive the factory to the point that it was rehabilitated, and we test ran the system. Don't forget, when the MPP came into administration, there was an audit by the PricewaterhouseCoopers, and the report is there for all of us to see. They had admitted that some interventions had taken place and that the current government was supposed to now do ABCD in order to be able to operationalize the factory. They failed in doing that. They allowed the system to stay there for a while and got rotten, and then they decided to sell it out, which didn't work out, okay? And so they had to go in for AgroPark in terms of asking them to come in, partner them to run it. That didn't materialize because they had even gone to deceive the people that AgroPark was coming to start job within 2 months' time in that particular year, around 2019.
Mr. Sulemana, I remember former President Mahama talking, waxing lyrical about the Komenda sugar factory, saying it was going to produce sugar. Everything was in place and all of that. What happened?
Yes, everything was in place because once the factory was set up, the next was to also have a source of raw material. And the NDC government had contracted about $24 million to be given to farmers to produce sugarcane. And if we had done that, we would have been able to raise enough raw material to be able to process, to be able to manufacture the sugar. This government decided not to draw down that facility. And that's one of the sources of the problem. So you don't blame the NDC for not putting in place the structures. We had put in place the factory, and we had also made enough arrangements for money. That money was supposed to be given to farmers around the Komenda area to be able to produce raw material.
The factory was
NDC
there.
Had also put in place a
Mr. Sulemana,
that was just
the factory was there. You refurbished the factory. The claim was that you had put in the right equipment. Did you go through all the rigorous processes? Because this administration, you remember, President Akufo-Addo, even in this documentary, mentions that the right things had not been done. And so you had put up the edifice, but what would actually bring sugar was not in existence. In any case, if the little bit of sugar we saw at the time that was produced, was it the raw bits that had been imported that was refined, because we didn't even have sugarcane at the time. So you must admit that to some degree, some extent, you have also failed. You didn't have the plantations ready, some of the equipment and everything. I mean, the processes were, not all the processes were in place. What then did you bequeath? You did not bequeath the factory
from
that was working.
2017 to date. We wouldn't have personalized the Komenda sugar factory. Is that what you are suggesting?
I'm not saying that.
We
I'm
are
just
telling
merely
you
saying
that
you also
we have
bear
put in
part of
place
the
the
blame.
structures, And I want you to go back to the report that was produced by PricewaterhouseCoopers. They had identified some issues. And those issues, if this government had resolved them, by now the factory would have been producing sugar. It would have been creating jobs. Okay? It would have helped in strengthening our currency. So if they have failed to do that, I do not think that we should be blamed for their negligence.
Let me ask you this. Since you're a ranking member of that committee, between now and election time, can anything be done to salvage part of your taxpayers' money, my taxpayers' money, in Komenda? Is there a plan? Can anything be done?
Ben, let me tell you, since I came to Parliament, I serve on the Trade Committee. And you can Google, you can check the records. I have asked more than 15 questions to the Minister of Trade and Industry on Komenda Sugar's factory alone. And I have made statements upon statements with respect to this factory. The last one was when I questioned the deceit of Honorable Kojo Nkrumah, where he said that the minority had refused to approve tax exemptions. And that was why the sugar factory was not operationalized. He had to run away and to say that he didn't say that. So we have been on them, and I think that it is because of that even today they are still making this effort. And so from now to elections, if you ask me, there's little this administration can do. What we want is that the NDC, when we come back to power in 2025, we are giving you an assurance that this factory will be operationalized and it will reduce the importation of sugar into this country and create many, many jobs directly and indirectly for the people of Komenda and its environs.
You could not do it then, but somehow you can do it now. The same person who was president of the country then is the same person who is the leader of your party now. You couldn't do it then, but somehow you can do it now?
Man, we have done enough. What was left was just something small to operationalize it. We had put in place source of raw material because we had secured the money. We had put in place a nursery that will just be helping in transplanting the seedlings to the farms. We had put in place the factory itself. We had put in place a management structure. So what was left was to operationalize it in commercial form, and then we left administrative power. We are telling you and we are assuring you that given what we have done and what is left to be done, we can do it, and we are ready to do it starting from 2025 onwards.
So, Mr. Super, let me come in on that particular note, that you're ready to do whatever it takes. Now, the people of Komenda are saying they have the plantation. They've acquired more than 10,000 acres of land to grow sugarcane to feed this factory. So my question to you is, I mean, different sugarcane varieties typically have varying growth period or growth cycles, but it typically takes like 12 to 14 months to mature. What is your plan to actually enable these community residents to plant sugarcane and feed the factory, as against importing unrefined sugar with that tax waiver that the government is talking about?
Yeah, so first of all, as I talked to you, the last time the committee visited the facility, we'll still have to do some renovations. So as soon as we come, we are going to do those renovations whilst we also engage the farmers to produce the sugar cane. For now, we don't know the variety they are doing. And for the sugar factory to be able to maximize whatever we have in that area, we need to get the right varieties. If it is the right varieties they are doing now, all we do is to give them the technical support, see how we can also advance some money to them to expand the farms, and then we are able to offtake those raw materials from them, and quickly we should be able to start production.
Mr. Sulemana, the question is, are you still going to import unrefined sugar? Although the whole purpose of this factory is to give jobs to the people in these communities and the country. You've waited for this long. This is over more than 8 years, and it's still there. Are you still going to go ahead and import unrefined sugar as compared to us against empowering residents to actually grow sugarcane to feed the factory so they have some way of making ends meet?
Clearly, that is not the plan of the NDC. The NDC, as I said earlier on, we had sourced money to strengthen the local producers, the local farmers, so that they will produce sugarcane for us to buy. So it's not our intention to continue to import unrefined or molasses. No, our intention is to create jobs for farmers. Our intention is to strengthen the farmers by giving them some kind of financial support, giving them technical support, so that they can produce the variety that we want, so we are able to use that to manufacture. It is not our intention to import semi-processed sugar. That's not why the factory was set up.
Mr. Sulemana, this will be my final bit on this conversation. One, I think there's more to, if you look at TOR, you look at Komenda, I think there's more than meets the eye. I think there's something that the rest of us are not seeing, because I look at the 8 years of Atta Mills, John Mahama, and even before that, you know, Kufuor, Rawlings, and then I look at this administration and the promises that have been made. I think there's something somewhere that we are not being told, because I simply don't get it. But if you look at the footage I am looking at right now, and you look at the state of the Komenda sugar factory, what it means is that we've wasted a lot of money, a lot of the equipment, a lot of the roofing. Look at it. It's a rust bucket. It has rusted away. It means we are going to have to expend a lot more money to do these things again, or whatever it may take to get there. Is it worth our money? Or is it time for you, the politicians, maybe to tell us, you know what, this project, we have to leave it for a while and invest money in something else? Let's be practical. What's your take?
Hello, Ben, can you quickly repeat this? The fly is making noise, so I couldn't get you.
Okay, in simple terms, I'm asking, a lot of the equipment in Komenda, the facility, it has rusted away. We're going to have to expend more money to get it running, if ever. I'm asking, does it make monetary sense? Or should we set this aside for now and admit that, you know, this is a failed project and we may need more time when we have more resources, we get back to it?
I think that it's all about commitment. When we resume power, what we need to do is to quickly assess the state of it. You and I are only looking at it from outside. We don't know the damage that has been caused as a result of the neglect by this government. And so we need to first of all do the assessment. But I think that it's a project that is worth investing in. And so at the end of the day, given the high level of commitment of the NDC administration to ensure that we don't import sugar into this country, we will look at the processes very well and look at the cost-benefit analysis that we'll have to do. If we have to get money to invest in it, so be it. But I think that is a good project that we need to continue.
All right. He just said so we don't import sugar into the country, but I'm sure you're fully aware that it will not take just Komenda to stop, you know, importing sugar.
At least it will reduce it drastically if we're able to do what we intended doing.
Right.
I accept that point, but to say we will not import sugar.
You know, Ben, and I do want to go to Isaac Mensah, but there's something I want clarity on. Mr. Sulemana, you are still ranking member on this committee in Parliament. Aside being a member of the NDC, and everything you've said so far, you're saying that, and we, the NDC, don't intend to do this, and the NDC don't intend to do that. In your current position, what are you doing about the state of this Komenda sugar factory as we speak?
Yeah, so in my current position as a ranking member, like I said earlier on, I've been on the minister and I've been on the ministry with respect to this Komenda sugar factory. And I think that it is the pressure we are putting on them. The last time when the Minister of Trade and Industry, Honorable K.T. Hamo, came and I asked him questions on this sugar factory, he got annoyed, okay, and he felt so embarrassed. Again, when Kojo Oponkrumah went and lied to them, that it was because of the minorities' unreadiness to approve tax exemption, that's why this project has come to a standstill. I also raised the issue, and he was also embarrassed. Given that, I think that they are giving it a second thought, and they are doing what they are trying to do now, even though that will not be enough. So we are doing our part as a minority. We have raised this issue several times on the floor of Parliament. Right. We have engaged the media on this matter. We have visited the facility, and we have interacted with the people of Komenda, and I can tell you that they are aware of the level of commitment that we have shown with respect to this particular project.
Great.
What
so
we need now is to vote these people out, and then I can assure you, I am assuring you, that you see, anytime somebody starts a project, the person would have thought through it very well before starting it. another person taking over may not have the very reasons why it was set up. And that's where the difference is. Again, this government didn't want the Mahama administration to take that credit. And that is why they decided to neglect it. And now there's pressure on them, and they're finding excuses.
All right, Mr. Sulemana, just in a bit we'll be wrapping up, but hold for me. Let me go to Isaac Mensah. Isaac, I'm sure you've listened to Mr. Yusuf Sulemana.
Sure. Yeah.
What are your reactions? Quickly, make it brief for me.
A point of correction. The factory was built from the scratch during Mahama administration. It was not something that rehabilitated or let's say, because I heard the man that they said they came to rehabilitate the factory. No, the place was a virgin land, and they came to do foundation. They built the factory from the scratch to where it is. So that is why I said the current president or the current government said the factory, those who built the factory didn't do the due diligence. They should have planted the sugarcane before doing the factory, which was wrong because sugarcane will take you the maximum by 8 months. Then it's matured. If it's 1 year and over, it will finally lose its strength. So when you use it for the milling, you will not get the sugar that you wanted to produce the sugar. So that is why they decided to build the factory. After building the factory, then they will finally go to the sugarcane plantation.
Right.
And I quite remember they did that. And I remember very well that during the time they completed the factory, they did test runs. They brought sugarcane from the hinterland, from Shama and other places, for the machine to try. They tried and then they produced sugar. I won their visit, not that they said. I was there myself and I saw the production, how the whole thing went round. From MPP, so many people who saw it, not that they said. And even I took some of the sugar myself to keep it as an evidence. But unfortunately now, I consumed it long ago. I got at the most about half with me. So I don't know what is happening. Now they were saying there was no due diligence begun. Now, how long for you to plant sugarcane? How long?
All right.
You have been in power for 8 good years now. 7 years to 8 years. At least take 1 year to build sugarcane farms. Then finally you come and do whatever you wanted to do. So now Isaac, I cannot say that. That's why I said the government of the day, there's nothing they can do to convince the people of Ghana, Komenda and its environs. Whatever they will come and do is just a game that they want to play with us. It's a politics they just want to come and play with us. We are sick and tired for those lies.
Right.
We are just waiting for any government or any person who is ready to come and put this place in order so that the people of Komenda and its environs will get job to do. Because the factory serves the region and the nation as well. As I told you, if it comes to Komenda, we have all the citizens of Ghana represent here, born and bred as a citizen of Komenda, as I speak to you now.
Thank you so much. Isaac Mensah is opinion leader at Komenda, and he's helping to shed light on the state of that factory. We also spoke to ranking member on Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee in Parliament.
So let me just say that I agree with Isaac that the factory was built from the scratch. That must be made very clear, and it was not as if it was rehabilitated or something. That point must be made very clear.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yusuf Sulemana, ranking member on Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee in Parliament. Thank you for joining the conversations. Benjamin.
Well, like I said, from Tor to Komenda, it's just a sad picture in our country. If you look at how many millions we have spent over the last 2 decades on one
Nearly
project.
100.
So one project, you expend so much money and the project hasn't even taken off. It's not yielding anything to the country. Look at this. Look at this. But anyway, from there, we're also going to be getting into the pensions conversation. But before we go into that, let's tell you about Dan's World Services. If you're stressed out about all your cleaning needs, worry no more. Dan's World Services is your one-stop shop that meets all your commercial and residential cleaning needs, from pest control, janitorial and house cleaning, event cleaning and waste management, carpet and sofa cleaning, and more. Whether at home or at work, we understand and know how haptic cleaning can be coupled with your busy lifestyle. We've got great news for you. Dan's World Environmental and Facility Management Services has got you covered. You know how we do it. We excel in whatever we do, leaving you beyond your wildest expectations. If you're looking for us, we're easy to find. We can be found at Excel House opposite the Regimanal Estate, Nungwa Barrier, or call us on these numbers, 0302 905 538 or 0555 752 361. Dan's World Services, beyond expectation.
I really should call them one of these days, huh? Yeah, but yeah. This is a gentle reminder that your favorite podcast show, Bus Stop Diaries, now airs every Saturday at 4 p.m. on the Joy News channel. So you can also watch and listen to all your favorite episodes on Joy News on YouTube channel, on myjoyonline.com, on Apple Podcast, on TuneIn, on Google Podcast, and Spotify. Grab a chilled drink. Tomorrow is a Saturday, and join us for another exciting journey filled with trending buzz. That's it for Bus Stop Diaries. And we are going to continue with the next direction, the next conversation. Benjamin was just telling us about that thought leadership, and you hosted it. Great work, Benjamin. The conversations were all encapsulating.
Great work to the team.
Yes, to the team, yeah.
But we're going to give you some snippets of what transpired here yesterday when we had that national pensions dialogue. After that, we'll get into the conversation.
Over half of its shares in 4 hotels sparked controversy, leading to massive worker protest against the deal tied to the Minister of Agric. After months of dispute, SNIT cancelled the sale under pressure. Many now see SNIT as a sinking ship in urgent need of reform to secure pension funds. Speaking on the Joy News Thought Leadership Program, the General Secretary of the Public Services Workers Union of TUC, Bernard Ejay, stated that the current benefits are inadequate and unsatisfactory.
I mean, we are very much concerned because the truth is that majority of pensioners from the public sector, especially those with Public Services Workers Union, are receiving very low pensions.
The consensus around the table was same. SNIT has failed with its mandate. Dr. Kwabena Nyako Otu is the Director of Research at TUC.
They have not lived up to our expectations if you focus on SNIT.
For some of them, the main problem is the governance and politicization of SNIT.
Because consistently we have seen that there are governance problems with SNIT. There are operational problems with SNIT.
SNIT and its management of our pension resources have not been the best. And I don't need to elaborate. All the things we have known about SNIT over the last few years illustrate clearly that pension fund management is a serious problem in this country.
Independent researcher Abdullah Mashoud, who is the executive director of Africa Center for Pension Research, believes the problem is far worse.
The Social Security in Ghana has gone through a number of phases. In fact, from independence in 1957, we have had 7 major legislative reforms as far as Social Security is concerned, including 3 amendments. Now, what has happened over the period is that we have the most recent one, which has to do with the implementation of the Act 760, that is the 3-tier pension system. A few years after the implementation, that is about 13 years after the implementation of the Act 766, I can confidently tell you that the objectives of the Act 760 or the reforms in 2008 has not been fully realized. And what were the objectives? The first objective was to enhance retirement income security to the Ghanaian pensioner when they retire, and also to set up uniform rules and regulations for the administration and payment of benefits in Ghana. Those were the 2 objectives. And about 81% of employers who are employing between 1 to 30 employees are not paying Social Security contributions under Tier 2. And that is as a result of, issues with enforcement of compliance. Again, if you take a look at Ghana Statistical Service data, what we are finding is that even within the formal sector, we are finding that about 26% of those who work in the formal sector, mostly in private establishment, are not covered by the basic national social security system, let alone Tier 2. So coverage is a very big issue, and I'm saying we have significant disparities along the lines of tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2 disparities, gender, and sector of work. We are talking about private, public, and we are talking about informal and formal.
Labor expert Austin Game says there are more lapses.
For now, the accountability aspect and responsibility on the part of the governing the structure is not adequately in place. And I think that once that can be taken care of, that should be go a long way to solve the problem.
But SSNIT would have none of that. Chief Actuary at SSNIT, Joseph Poku, says payments are done by the book.
Lowest earner will be based on the minimum wage, the national minimum wage. You cannot pay contributions below the national minimum wage. That is the monthly equivalent of the daily national minimum wage, which now is around almost 400 Ghana cedis also. Probably if we were to be going strictly according to the law, according to the formula in the law, the person wouldn't even get a 300 cedi. But because of the administrative instruction that we can't pay anything below 300. That is why it's even getting the thing. At the same time, somebody is getting 187,000 Ghana cedis every single month. And in January, coming January, this person getting 187 is most likely you get over 200,000 a month.
He also says they are working to rope in more contributors.
We have embarked on this program, and somebody mentioned it, the Self-Employment Enrollment Drive initiative started last year. As at the time, we had about around 14,000 people who had signed up. And as we speak, about 2 weeks ago, when I checked the data, we had over 100,000 now. So multiple folks. So that's the way we feel that it should go, because that is the fuel for the scheme.
The panelists believe that there must be major reforms in the pensions industry to bring it back on track.
It's important that we strategically, as organized labor, also look at going into the future, representation on any kind of board when it comes to these investments, prepare our people well, follow up on them, engage them, get them expert advice so that they can do their work well. One important thing is also about the unification of pensions. It is not the best. You know, when the pension reforms came into being, it was only the army that was exempted. As we speak, all the security forces have gone into captivity. So where is the unification of pensions here?
Right.
Meanwhile, we know they are not contributing a penny to their pensions. But at the end of the day, the benefits they have in terms of lump sum is way more than those of us who are contributing to our pensions.
And it becomes even worse when the single spine salary structure has also not lived up to expectations.
Exactly.
So you lose from both ends.
Exactly. So we must ensure that if it's going to be the pension reforms that have come into place since 2010, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, every worker should be put in here. And we shouldn't be having capacity and the rest, because then we all know capacity is way better, way more than what the tier 2, for example, provides. And from what we've heard, we look at the restructuring of SSNIT in terms of its governance, management, administrative processes, and all of that.
Must the law, the act itself be touched?
The law, yes.
Must the act be touched?
Yes. Of course.
Okay.
Of course, and I think organized labor can lead in this direction. We cannot wait for any entity to start this, and that is why, personally, I'm happy our technical committee has started working. I'm sure this is going to be one of the recommendations they are going to make, and we are going to take it up seriously and work towards it.
We have to look at the pension redistribution policy. I have always had the view that the way SSNIT is indexing pensions, I think it's about time we look at it. We need to reform it a little bit to reflect fully the principle of solidarity. You have a pension payroll where 7% of those rich pensioners in the upper bound control about 32%. Whereas we have...
what percentage did you mention? So the top tier? 7%. 7% control over 30%.
Over 30% in the upper bound. Whereas we have 68% in the lower bound, controlling just 37%. It is just telling us that there is something wrong with the way we redistribute pensions.
Now, if you look, there's a cap on the second tier and third tier management in terms of expenses or expenditure in managing the funds. Whereas if you look at SSNIT expenditure, and in your introduction, you did mention some figures, there seem not to be a cap. And SSNIT expenditure, we believe most of the funds, instead of going either into investment or accruing to the benefit of the members, is going into the management of the fund.
Although the labor unions, as the largest contributors to SSNIT, are calling for the reduced government influence on the board, Dr. Kwabena Nyako is advising them to proceed with caution.
You have the head of the board being a journalist. Now, if you go to Denmark and if you go to South Africa, there's a criteria for being a member of their pension funds. We don't have it. Even in our own law, the NPRA, there's a criteria for being appointed a member of NPRA board, but there's no criteria for being a member of the Senate board.
So there you have it on that very important conversation. And congratulations to the team. It's a joint effort between Joy News and key stakeholders hosted by the able man himself, Benjamin Akakwe. We do want to hear your thoughts on this. We already have a caller, but maybe let's take his views and then I'll share some key insights and recommendations that came from yesterday's national dialogue with the rest of you. Emmanuel is calling us now. Emmanuel, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
What's on your mind, Emmanuel?
I watched the program yesterday.
Okay, great.
And let me say that, first of all, let me commend you for the program. And also, I work in the informal sector. And initially, I wasn't contributing to SNAKE. I wasn't making any contribution. But one of their workers convinced me to start. I would say, as an institution, that the SNAKE, as an institution, I didn't believe in their institution. That's why I wasn't contributing to SNAKE. But I was doing other investments for myself. But what I realized from the discussion yesterday was that since I have started contributing, I realized I have to increase my premium because you interviewed a pensioner, a lady, who was saying that his cousin was receiving about 300 cedis a month. And I realized that if I don't increase my premium, it means that in some years to come, what I'm going to earn will be nothing. So I will have to increase my premium so that I will earn more. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for sharing those thoughts with us.
Interesting thoughts.
Yeah.
The basic now anyone can earn is around 432 Ghana cedis or something. But you ask yourself, what can you do with 432 Ghana cedis?
Very small amount. But yes, so from that conversation yesterday, acknowledging the critical importance of a robust pension system for the financial security of retirees in Ghana, the National Dialogue, in collaboration with Joy News, like I mentioned, and key stakeholders, aim to address pressing issues and propose actionable solutions to enhance efficiency and sustainability of the pension system. I do want to share the key recommendations and next steps with you, but we have another caller on the line. Maybe he also watched the program yesterday. Good morning. Tell me your name and where you're calling from. My producer said it, but...
Good morning, my dear.
Great. What's on your mind this morning?
Yeah. Calling from Sugakopi.
Okay, great. What's on your mind? Share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, I watched the program yesterday night. My position is that Mr. Benjamin, kudos, more peace to everyone. Kudos for the job done. All that I want to say is that this state board people should go. Organized labor should come from and let all those state board members, NPRA members, all they should go. Workers should take over the job, and they should position their members, competent ones, to do the work for the workers. The money doesn't belong to the government. The money belongs to the workers, so they should allow workers to take control of their own money so that they can invest it well. I wish you well.
We wish you well too. Thank you so much. And that's. I think that also came up in the discussions yesterday, but let me quickly run through this. So the very first one is on enhancing supervisory role of the NPRA. The National Pensions Regulatory Authority should enhance its supervisory role and ensure continuity in governance to maintain stability and confidence in the pension system. 2, in terms of limiting government interference, government should refrain from appointing board members to SNIT and NPRA. And this includes limiting the President's power in appointing the Director General of SNIT, the Board of Trustees, and NPRA's management and board members. In terms of worker representation on the SNIT board, a majority of SNIT board seats should be appointed by workers to ensure that their interests are adequately represented. I'll put a pin in it here, and then let's go to Isaac on the phone. Isaac, good morning. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Good morning, dear. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. What's on your mind?
Good. I watched the program yesterday, and what I can say about it is that I think the contributors to this and really need to be educated well, because you will not understand it until you enter into it. So I use my father as an example. When he came home from work, and we look at how much he received at the end of the month, I noticed it's nothing to take home. So personally, I advise myself that instead of me investing with Snake, I'd rather do long-term investment with my bankers. That's the best option. If you really want to enjoy your age, your
retirement
life
years,
or whatever,
yeah.
better start investing with your banks. Buy long-term investment, that will help. And forget about the business issues. Seriously, anything that is being managed, that's by my experience, that anything that is being managed by the government seems to be, something that does really favor those who spend the peso in it. So to me, I even wish if the business will even be shut down completely. We don't have Smith here because we don't benefit. Nothing goes on with we who, I would say because me, I met up my mind, I won't go there. So those who are there, just grow your money, buy long-term investment, fund with the bankers, and then look at what will happen to you when you think it's time for you to also benefit from there. That would give you much more money or much more profit than to with that money with the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm not sure, I don't want us to discourage.
That is sad because now he's saying he has no trust in the system.
Yeah.
And rather than go this way, one thing that emerged from yesterday, what SNIT gets by way of revenue, the tier 2, I don't know whether it's tier 2 and 3 or just one of them, they are earning about twice as much.
Yeah.
The question is, why are people willing to go to private enterprise for tier 2 and 3 and pay so much, and yet they are not willing to do so?
Because like the dog said, 81% are not being paid tier 2 social security. And that's the situation we are in. Clifford also joins us on the phone. Clifford, good morning. Where are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from Dakuman.
Dakuman, great. Clifford, what are your thoughts?
Yes, so I'm saying that we have lost interest in trust in SNIT. Because if you have this trustee on the board and they can take a decision without our consent, our interest, then it's an issue. Because when you compare the SNIT, our scheme here to outside, is that we are taking, our parents are taking less than the minimum that is supposed to get. Because if someone is getting like 500 cedis, which is less than even $300. It's very, look at the economy. Then we can take a decision. Then, without the interest of the labor commission, the workers, that is very bad. Then we can't put our trust in. There's no need for the even SNIT to be in place. Now I'm saying that I'm trying to suggest that SNIT should publish all its assets. We should know what our investment is going to. So that now they should make account to every investment that they've used our money for. Because this is not the money. This is workers' money that we contributed. Our parents contributed. And later, then you take decision that they favor the state. That one is very bad. So my interest is SNIT should publish to make to every investment from beginning. So now it's able to do that, okay, because we can see some of the assets of SNIT that is in a very bad stage that someone will tell, this is a SNIT house. When you go there and you see that, it's in a very bad stage.
Right.
So people's money, those who make account of every investment that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clifford from Dakuman. We also have Herbert from Mampong Equiapim on the line with us. Herbert,
hello.
What are your thoughts?
Yes. My thought is just simple. I did a little simulation on the SNIT and then the tier 2. And I believe if you look at the way SNIT is managing our funds, comparing to the tier 2, I think the 13.5% should rather be channeled to the tier 2 for our investment. Because if you look at the growth of the tier 2 as compared to the tier 1, which is being managed by SNIT, the tier 2 is currently doing better. If you are a worker and you check your statement for tier 2 and compare it to tier 1, I think SNIT is just wasting our funds. And rather, the 30.5 should rather be given to the tier 2 to be managed. And then the 5% should go to SNIT. I think it's one of the best alternatives Because if you look at the way the Tier 2 is being managed, it's far better. I checked my statement on the Tier 2 fund, and it's quite better as compared to what Senate is doing. And that the 30.5 should rather go to the Tier 2, the Tier 2 to manage, and then the 5% should go to Senate. And then, as my earlier colleague just said, I think the entire structure of Senate must be changed. The workers must have the maximum number of people on the board as compared to what is currently happening, and the government has so much influence in managing the Tier 1. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Herbert from Mampong. We have Vincent on the line as well. After Vincent, maybe we'll go through the rest of the recommendations and then we can wrap up. Vincent. That's not a good sound to hear. Is Vincent still on the line with us? Okay, Vincent is gone. So on actual knowledge of for board members, some of the recommendations say that board members of SNIT and NPRA should possess actual knowledge to make informed decisions regarding the management and sustainability of pension funds. And that makes clear sense. No need to get into that too much. Vincent,
yes,
you're back on the line with us.
Yes, I'm on the line.
Great. What's on your mind?
So my problem is about the workers of SNIT. I want to find out how much of the investment from SNIT do you use to pay the SNIT workers? Is it not the investment from SNIT or the what we get from SNIT? Is it not the same amount of money that is used to pay the SNIT workers? I want to find out from you.
What's the question again?
What I'm saying is, I want to find out those working as SNIT. What money do we use to pay them? Is it the proceeds of SNIT income that is used to pay them?
Is that what you were saying? Yeah, it's government's money.
Taxpayers' money. You could say that it is.
What's the point?
That it isn't. It is.
No,
it's still taxpayers' money.
My point is. My point is, those working as SNIT, I think they use most of our money, the SNIT investment, to pay them. Unlike the workers, those who are supposed to earn from SNIT, that is the pensioners. That is one of my problems. So maybe that place should also be checked.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think that's all the time would allow us to engage with you, but I'm sure we can make this available for those who are interested. We do have to go, but if I can run through it, organized labor should only appoint experienced members and train them to ensure.
Ralph, before we.
Ralph is on the line. Hi, Ralph.
Yes, hello.
Talk to me.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Madam, I just want to touch on the conversation you had on the Komenda Sugar Factory with the parliamentarian. Yeah, what I want you people to do is, this very interview that you had with the parliamentarian, kindly record it and send it to NDC caucus, because people are monitoring whatever the parliamentarian said. We want to hold him accountable on this very interview. So kindly record it, and intermittently, you remind NDC that this day, we had interview with your parliament, your MP on the Komenda Sugar Factory. Now you come to power. So then we compare the man's responses to what they may be saying. If they will be saying different things, apart from this interview, after they have won the election, then you do the comparison. Also, Uncle Ben, you were touching on the nature of the rusting. But what I want to add is, concerning the proximity of the plant to the sea, that the rusting nature may occur even if the plant is in operation. But what may have prevented is the periodic maintenance that will have prevented the rusting nature. But the plant can be renovated as soon as possible, and I'm assuring you that you have expertise in the country who can bring the pantry, who can bring the plant into life, because the rusty equipment are the And they form the rusty equipment that form about 20%. The motors, the sensors, all are in good position, so the plant can run. So, Uncle Ben, I want you to, as I said earlier on, record this very message we had with the MP. Then after they come to power, you pray it to them.
Thank you for those thoughts.
All right, Uncle Ben.
We had to do that.
I had to do that. We do have to go. We'll find a way to make the recommendations available to you if you're interested to know what the result of that national dialogue was. But there's still more coming your way on the AM show. We'll be back in a jiffy. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching the AM show. Now let's talk about some great television content. Michelle Ajakum of Joy Prime is here in the studio with me, looking beautiful as ever. Michelle, I hear, yes, darling, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fantastic. I hear Big Chef is coming back, and this time tertiary edition. Tell me about that.
Yes. So before we talk about Big Chef, let's talk about Family Arena.
Oh, I thought we'd do Big Chef and then go to
let's do Family Arena because that is what, you know.
That's what you're most excited about.
No,
it's a
not
family
that,
game
but
show. Okay,
yeah,
let's do. Tell me about
excited about both, but I would want us to take it from Family Arena. Then we now
both the audience and I have seen where your interests lie. Tell me about Family Arena. It's a brand new game show coming on Joy Prime.
Yes, it is. So Family Arena is a family game show, and when I say family, it's not limited to just the nuclear family. So we have grandpa coming with his or her grandparents coming with their grandchildren and then coming to answer questions and win cash.
Okay.
That easy.
That easy?
Yes.
So like playing trivia games, answering some current affairs questions, and then you win anything. Big. Michelle, hold for me. There's a promo for this fantastic program you're talking about. Take a look and we'll be right back.
Are you ready to have the blast of a lifetime? Get ready for the newest and ultimate game show here on Joy Prime, Family Arena! The Family Arena is a fun-filled game show which you see families battle it out in exciting games and quizzes to win amazing cash prizes and lots of other goodies as well. We are going to have so much fun here on the Family Arena. Now, to participate, send your family name and the first name of 3 of your family members to 0551 575757 and join us on this ultimate new game show, the Family Arena.
I like the scoring of that promo. Bum, 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 bum. So tell me, how many, what's the maximum number of participants? 3?
3.
Or more than 3?
No, 3 from each family.
Okay.
Yeah, so if grandpa is coming with the son and grandson, it's just the 3 of you representing the family against another family. Yeah, but it's unfortunate. I actually wanted to come with my family, but you know, you cannot be the producer and also be on the show as well.
Oh, you're the producer. Congratulations.
I didn't say that I am the producer, like I am the producer, but I'm part of the team. Yeah, we have a team lead though, but I mean, we're all doing this together. So
what is the highest amount of money you could win in this game?
Sweetie,
this game show. Tell me.
You can even win a cow.
A car?
Yeah, like. This is going to put me on the spot. You let me
tell me, how much?
Oh, but okay, so let's say that you're winning more than 5,000 Ghana cedis. So it could be 10,000, it could be 8,000,
okay,
it could be 7,000.
Okay, so you have like a prize pool, and depending on where you get to at each level of the game, what you can win.
Yes.
Fantastic. So please send in your entries and participate in this fantastic family game show on Joy Prime. And now let's talk about Big Chef.
Yes, but before we move to Big Chef, let me just re-echo this, that if you want to be part of the show, so you just send your family name. So just like mine is Michelle Ajekum, so I bring the Ajekum family, and then maybe we have Joshua Ajekum coming. So it's Joshua, Nanayao, and Ama. So you have the team member coming to compete for the family. So you send it to the number 055-157-5757. Now, to make it easier for us to notice that this is you trying to be part of the show, when you send the name of the family and then the 3 team members that are coming to, compete, you use the hashtag Family Arena so that we're able to know that this is you trying to be part of Family Arena.
Michelle, you don't want to talk about Big Chef.
You don't
want to talk about Big Chef.
No, but from 1 we go to 2. So
no. We say Unya Fianchi node because there's a new game show coming. We are all about Family Arena.
Oh, no,
your old baby is like relegated to the back somewhere. But I want to talk about Big Chef.
Yes, we're talking about Big Chef. Big Chef Tertiary is coming back.
Okay.
Last year we had the first season of Big Chef Tertiary, and it was amazing. We had 6 schools participating. But this year we have 8 schools participating. Oh. Yes, so we have 3 schools from the northern part of Ghana. That's Wa Technical University, Tamale Technical University, and Bolgatanga.
Okay.
Bolgatanga Technical University.
When does it start?
So we're starting with auditions in August. So here's what we're going to do. We're moving to the schools, and then the schools are going to give us 3 different teams that will compete.
Okay.
So out of the 3 different teams that will compete there at the audition, we pick 1 team to represent the school.
Oh, so it's like an internal competition for one ultimate winner to represent the school in the actual competition.
Yes.
I see what that...
Last season, we allowed the schools, nominate. But this time we were like, no, let's have an internal competition so that it's not only based on book, but then your practical as well.
I'll give you a minute to give me all the important information that our audience should take note of in terms of Big Chef Tertiary Season 2, and then we go.
All right. So for Big Chef Tertiary Season 2, we're starting in August. Our train moves on the 5th of August, and we'll be live on Joy Prime as and when it starts. So if you're a lover of Big Chef Tertiary, kindly tune in to Joy Prime. In fact, from 5th of August, just tune in and then be watching your favorite. And if you're a member or you're an alumni of the school as well, you can tune in, cheer them up. And it was fantastic seeing the finale of the first season, how the students came in and supported. It was so amazing. And Ho has the bragging right now. We don't know who is going to take over, but I just hope that someone takes over so that
my money is on them. They will win again this year. Michelle Ajekum from Joy Prime, thank you so much for passing through, bringing us all these important pieces of information.
Thank you for having me.
The Family Arena coming up on Joy Prime and Big Chef Tertiary Season 2. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
That's you. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. We'll be right back. For the final leg of the show this morning, let's talk about Go North Outreach. I've been joined by Zara Ibrahim and Edina Bello, both 2 beautiful women in the studio with me. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Edina, I said you are 2 people in one because I know Edina and I know Bello, and you are Edina and Bello. So let me come to you first then. Tell me all about Go North Outreach in about 30 seconds, and then we can discuss it.
Okay, so the Go North Outreach was a program started last year. And the brain behind this is a couple in the Bolgatanga municipality, Madam Catherine Miller and her husband, Professor Mahmudu Akudugu.
Okay.
And the goal is to get access to get services, neurodevelopmental services to families in the northern region. There is a gap in terms of access to services. So they decided to collaborate with Mission Pediatrics and then Clicks Foundation. Rise Ghana also came on board.
Okay.
And we all came together with a team of professionals who went to the north. And we got the opportunity to train So we had a symposium where we had trainings, and then we also did some radio discussions as well.
So you just gather resources from everywhere and go north. I mean, like the name says, go north outreach. That's fantastic. Zara, what do you need this time? And when are you going and where?
Okay. So this time around, this program is happening this coming, I guess, that is on Tuesday, next week Tuesday. We are looking at more numbers. Last year, we've got about 250 persons.
Volunteers?
Not volunteers.
What?
With neurodevelopmental conditions.
Oh, right.
So the team of professionals, we have the speech therapist, the physiotherapist, the occupational therapist, behavior therapist. We have some team of doctors, dietitians, quite a number of therapists going on board to help persons up north with neurodevelopmental conditions.
Right.
This year, we are looking at having a larger population because all the 5 northern regions.
You mean you're trying to reach out to more people with neurodevelopmental issues? Okay, great.
So in the north, we just have all 5 regions in the north has just one speech therapist. And if they need services, they have to fly all the way to Accra just to render such service. So, I mean, get such service. So this year, we are looking at 7 more people with the help of individual corporations who can fund this program as well.
Yes, so let's talk about funding.
Yes. So we are looking out to organizations and individuals who would support us, this initiative, because we are looking at covering more numbers this time around because last year we had about 5 to 6 therapists, I mean professionals. This time around the numbers have doubled, meaning that the double numbers of professionals want to see more numbers of persons with neurodevelopmental conditions.
How do they get the money to you, Edinam?
So we have 2 ways you can get to us. We have the Zenith Bank. We use the Liana Therapy Center, LBG, and the routing number is 611-010-656. And then you can also send
please
us...
take the number again in case someone wants to write it down.
Sorry. So the account is at Zenith Bank, and it can be wired through the Liana Therapy Center. And the routing number is 611-010-1656.
How about a phone number to call?
So the phone number to call, we also have a Momo line.
Yes.
So that one is also 059-89-69316.
Okay.
And you can also call us on 050-438-3229. And that is where you can contact. And then if you want to register to come as well, you can register through that.
Okay, thank you so much for coming, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
You're going in August, right? Tuesday. That's August what? 5th? August 5th. So please, if you want to support them, make impact, join them. Either
we are Tuesday is on the 30th. Sorry.
You're going on the 30th,
which
not
is Tuesday.
This Tuesday.
Yes.
So what's happening on August 5th then?
So that was last.
That was last year.
Last year. It's
okay.
wrapped up
All right.
that time.
So it's this Tuesday. Go North Outreach.
Yes.
And they're looking for support, be it money or people who just want to support them, volunteers. Please reach out to them on their various phone lines as they've shared with you. And the one you can see on your screens right now, the bottom right corner. But thank you for joining us. This is our show for today and for the entire week. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and Benjamin Akakpo and I bring you this every weekday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Up next is Joy News Desk with Faustina Safo.